sees as certain treasure. I must go and eliminate him. Naturally, Nan Gong Hao harbored no trivial thoughts of sparing the innocent. It was only just that a son should repay his father's debts. Why else would he be so concerned about the potential exposure of Nan Gong Ye's secrets? Moreover, in seeking revenge, one must eradicate the root of the problem. That mastermind's son must die, whether sooner or later made no difference. Very well, go ahead. I await your good news, Nan Gong Hao replied with a smile. With a series of heavy bows, Situ Rue rose and departed. Once she was gone, Nan Gong Hao remained stationary. After a few breaths, a dark figure materialized behind him. The figure did not kneel or bow, but spoke in a deep voice. Shadow Guard of the Nan Gong family, Shadow One. As an everlasting force, the Nan Gong family naturally required the means to protect its descendants. These Shadow Guards were specifically designated to safeguard the Holy Sun. Most of the Shadow Guards were subpar members of the Nan Gong family, forcibly elevated to the realm of kings, with no possibility of further advancement in their lifetime. Despite this, for those who might never reach even the foundational realm, such a fate was a tremendous blessing. Hence, the Shadow Guard were exceptionally loyal, vowing to protect the safety of the Nan Gong family and its progeny. However, an individual in the position of Shadow One had never been forcibly elevated. They genuinely possessed talent, capable of reaching greater heights. Thus, Shadow Ones were rarely dispatched as mere guards, serving primarily as the overseers of the Shadow Guards, stationed at the Nan Gong family's stronghold. With Nan Gong Hao now recognized as the Holy Sun, this generation's Shadow One had been assigned as a guard, a decision made by Nan Gong Wushuang. Shadow One did not look down upon Nan Gong Hao. Rather, he held his own pride, refraining from bowing easily. Follow the one who just left, Su Chun, and observe his movements, Nan Gong Hao commanded, having been aware of the Shadow Guard's existence since birth, thus unperturbed. Shall we eradicate him entirely? Shadow One inquired impassively. No, leave him be, Nan Gong Hao replied nonchalantly. Upon hearing this, Shadow One frowned slightly. He disapproved of Nan Gong Hao's decision. It was the duty of the Shadow Guards to protect the descendants of the Nan Gong family. Usually, if a member of the family had enemies, the Shadow Guards would strive to eliminate them to avert future troubles. Although Su Chun had lost an arm, his will and potential posed a significant threat to Shadow One. If not eliminated, he might grow to become a formidable adversary in the future. Shadow One surmised that Nan Gong Hao's reluctance to kill Su Chun stemmed from a weakness of character or an aversion to taking lives. After all, he was still young and not yet worthy of great responsibilities. Shadow One resolved to eliminate Su Chun. However, just as he was about to depart, Nan Gong Hao coolly remarked, "You would do well to heed my words. Otherwise, your fate will be far worse than Su Chen's, for I have little patience for disobedience." Shadow One halted, coldly declaring, "You will regret today's decision." Why is that? Nan Gong Hao asked with keen interest. In the path of cultivation, the world believes that talent is paramount, but what is even more significant is willpower. The resolute will of a true strong man can stand like a pillar supporting the heavens, unyielding as a towering mountain. Just now, Su Chun exhibited such will. Thus, his future achievements are bound to be remarkable. If he survives, he will inevitably become your lifelong rival. Shadow One's words were resolute and chilling, seemingly intended to rouse Nan Gong Hao from his complacency. Nan Gong Hao laughed heartily, turning to Shadow One and inquiring, "And what do you think of my will?" Shadow One responded flatly, "I have yet to witness your will." Suddenly, a tempestuous will erupted, soaring as if it were piercing the heavens, shaking the very fabric of the cosmos. At that moment, every member of the Nan Gong family gazed up in astonishment, sensing the manifestation of an ancient deity, the overwhelming force of will compelling all to submit. Nan Gong Xiong, sensing this, could not help but smile wryly, realizing it was Nan Gong Hao's will power at play, reminiscent of his father's nature, endowed with unparalleled talent, yet possessing an excessively arrogant disposition. Nan Gong Wushuang remained unfazed, accustomed to such displays. However, the other members of the Nan Gong family, who had been cursing and belittling Nan Gong Hao's worthiness as the Holy Sun, suddenly found themselves silenced by an overwhelming dread. The vast will power bore down upon them like an invisible hand, firmly pressing upon their heads. In that moment, they were compelled to bow in submission. Shadow One too was taken aback. He had indeed never felt Nan Gong Hao's will before. He had always assumed that Nan Gong Hao, having lived a life of luxury since birth and being nurtured by the ancestors in Wushuang realm, had never experienced the harsh realities of life. How could someone like him possess any true will? All he had were the exceptional fortunes and talents bestowed upon him. But at this moment, Shadow One was left dumbfounded, for the towering will was akin to that of a divine being. It was a force capable of suppressing all realms and worlds, far surpassing Su Chen's. No, comparing Su Chen's mere glimmer of light to Nan Gong Hao was a disgrace. Although Nan Gong Hao stood slightly shorter than Shadow One, he radiated an air of superiority. Let this be a lesson. In the future, act more and speak less. Do you understand? Shadow One trembled, and, as a peak royal, he unexpectedly clasped his hands and bowed his head, stating, "Yes, Holy Son, I understand." In that moment, Shadow One completely succumbed to the weight of Nan Gong Hao's dominance. He finally comprehended the formidable existence he had chosen to follow, relinquishing his previous disdain. With a slight wave of his hand, Nan Gong Hao dismissed him. Shadow One respectfully retreated. Once he departed, Nan Gong Hao proceeded to the grand hall designated for the cultivation of the Holy Sun. The hall, constructed from a most spiritually resonant jade, absorbed the purest spiritual essence, saturating the entire space. Additionally, within the hall lay a comprehension stone large enough for 10 individuals to recline upon. In the realm of cultivation, such a stone was a priceless treasure, often unattainable even by the leaders of first-rate forces. However, within the immortal forces, the Holy Sun, the Saint's Son, and the Elders all had access to such resources, essentially standard equipment. Moreover, a furnace containing divine incense, which required a fortune to procure even a minuscule amount, continuously released fragrant smoke. Alongside this were ancient formations designed to suppress one's inner demons. The treasures were innumerable, collectively forming a small secret realm, enough to drive many into madness. Yet, these were merely the everyday tools used by Nan Gong Hao. This was the reason he looked down upon Su Chun and the old man with the ring. First-rate forces were, in the eyes of the Nan Gong family, woefully impoverished. Regardless of whether your sect hailed from the ancient era or any other, poverty transcends time. Not only were the cultivation resources astonishing, but the bloodline of Nan Gong Hao's parents was also extraordinarily exceptional, although he was unaware of his lack of physical prowess at birth. His innate talent for cultivation was truly extraordinary. The Jilai Lian Shinju, the Hun Yuan Ji Gong, and the Wangu Luan Hui Jing are three of the most esteemed cultivation techniques throughout history, notoriously challenging to master. However, for Nan Gong Hao, practicing these arts was as effortless as drinking water or eating a meal. As for the concept of a cultivation bottleneck, what is that? Apologies, but a genius knows nothing of such trivialities. While Nan Gong Hao diligently immersed himself in his training, the world around him descended into chaos, particularly in the Donghuang region, where several significant events unfolded. The foremost incident was the emergence of the Dizong Ben Yuan Dao within the Nan Gong family, which reverberated throughout the entire Donghuang domain. Yet, the identity of the individual who ultimately obtained this fabled blade remained shrouded in mystery. Amidst the swirling discussions, a figure named Nan Gong Quang stepped forward to declare that the Nan Gong family had not executed the former Tianqian divine body, proclaiming himself as the divine son of the Nan Gong clan, and claiming the Dizong Ben Yuan Dao as his own. This revelation ignited an uproar throughout Donghuang, with many demanding retribution. However, Nan Gong Wushuang asserted his dominance, quelling all dissent and announcing 3 pivotal points. First, the Tianqian divine body had turned 10 years old this year, and the absence of calamities in the Guang Yuan Tian Yu proved that the notion of a disaster body was mere fabrication. Second, even if calamity were to descend, the Dizong Ben Yuan Dao was well known to suppress the Tianqian divine body. Third, on the day the Haiwang secret realm was opened, Nan Gong Hao would also attend. Those wishing to confront him could wait until then. The people of Donghuang, intimidated by Nan Gong Wushuang's might, dare not utter a word. Additionally, the opportunity to eliminate the Tianqian divine body was offered, leaving little room for further discussion. Many were even more eager to vanquish Nan Gong Hao themselves, as doing so would not only allow them to seize the Dizong Ben Yuan Dao, but also harness the unique attributes of the Tianqian divine body that could summon heavenly tribulations for crafting magic artifacts. However, while the other factions in Donghuang remained calm, the Beiwu kingdom was far from compliant. They sheltered Nan Gong Quang, who had been expelled from his family and hunted by the Nan Gong clan due to his revelations. After all, Nan Gong Quang was a former holy son with commendable talent, and his defection could significantly tarnish the Nan Gong family's reputation. The Beiwu kingdom was more than willing to take him in. Little did they expect that a year later, they would suffer a humiliation tenfold greater than that of the betrayal of the Nangong family's holy son. For Situ Rue had come seeking vengeance. For years swiftly passed, and a handsome figure emerged from his seclusion. Situ Rue's father had once been the leader of the Situ family, privy to numerous secrets. For instance, he knew the locations of the family's hidden resources and various vulnerabilities in their defenses. Situ Rue exploited this information to infiltrate a banquet of the Situ family. At the feast, she introduced a lethal poison, colorless and tasteless, potent enough to kill a powerful monarch with just a trace. Even a royal would be at risk if careless. Consequently, Situ Rue directly assassinated the majority of her kin, while those who remained fell prey to her summoned deities and demons from beyond, resulting in widespread carnage. Coincidentally, 2 princes and the crown prince from the Beiwu kingdom were present at the banquet. Situ Rue swiftly dispatched the 2 princes, yet the crown prince managed to escape, albeit severely injured and on the brink of losing his powers. Following this, Situ Rue plundered over 90% of the Situ family's resources and departed with great audacity. This incident sent shockwaves through the Beiwu kingdom and the entirety of Donghuang, for the Situ family was a first-rate force, and to be so easily infiltrated, with their top experts slain and resources seized, was unfathomable. Henceforth, the Situ family was effectively crippled, reduced to a mere third-rate faction. The Beiwu kingdom, incensed, ordered investigations and manhunts. However, they need not exert themselves, for Situ Rue had already disseminated the truth throughout the Donghuang region. It turned out that Situ Rue was the biological daughter of the previous head of the Situ family and a princess of the Beiwu kingdom. She was meant to be a paragon of virtue and one of the heirs to the Situ family. Yet, the crown prince had inexplicably turned against her parents, orchestrating their downfall. It is worth noting that the Situ family had always staunchly supported the Beiwu kingdom, with each head of the family being a loyal minister. Furthermore, the familial ties between the Situ family and the Beiwu kingdom had persisted through generations. The crown prince's mother, Situ Rue's mother, was even the crown prince's own sister. In light of such relations, it was astounding that the crown prince would resort to such heinous acts. This illustrates the depth of Situ Rue's hatred for the crown prince, who had mercilessly annihilated her parents. What rendered Situ Rue even more despondent was the fact that many within the Situ family were aware of her parents' plight, yet they remained silent, paralyzed by fear of the Beiwu kingdom and the crown prince's might, even toasting with him. This event propelled Situ Rue to obliterate the Situ family and brought disgrace upon the Beiwu kingdom. Once the news spread, the Beiwu kingdom became a laughingstock in the Donghuang region, with the crown prince being the architect of his dynasty's downfall. What were they thinking? Did they not wish to remain an immortal power, but instead sought to reduce their own family to a mere first-rate force? As a result of the Situ family's debacle, the ruler of the Beiwu kingdom was consumed with rage. He executed 7 princes and high-ranking officials connected to the incident. The crown prince, being of considerable importance, was spared from death but confined for a century. Concurrently, the Beiwu kingdom resolved to hunt down Situ Rue, placing a staggering bounty on her head, alive or dead. Gonskoni, Situ Rue, who had intended to return to the Nangong family, chose instead to wander the world, fearing to bring trouble to Nangong Hao, while many sought to capture Situ Rue, even more admired her. Thus, people bestowed upon her the moniker of Tian Mo Sinu, the Demoness of Heaven. Amidst the overshadowing events surrounding Nangong Hao and Situ Rue, another occurrence transpired, albeit one that circulated only within a limited circle, concerning Su Chun. Su Chun discovered a grave said to contain the coffin of an ancient emperor. Upon entering, he unexpectedly acquired the legacy of an ancient powerhouse, the guardian of the emperor's tomb, known as the One-Armed Blade Immortal. Su Chun obtained the techniques of this figure along with a wealth of cultivation resources, witnessing an astronomical rise in his power. This development further solidified Su Chin's belief in his own exceptionalism, and he prepared himself to seek revenge against Nangong Hao once he had attained sufficient strength. Regrettably, he was oblivious to the fact that all of this was under the watchful gaze of Ying Yi. Moreover, Ying Yi sensed the presence of the emperor's coffin and, while astonished, could not help but admire Nangong Hao for having anticipated that this individual still possessed hidden treasures. Fortunately, he had refrained from directly eliminating Su Chin back then. Otherwise, he would have missed out on a grand legacy. Had been the old Ying Yi, He would have swiftly notified the Nan Gong family to seize this imperial tomb. Yet now he hesitated. He felt an inkling that the emperor's coffin, discovered by Su Chun, had not permitted him entry for a reason. It was likely waiting for a worthy successor. Undoubtedly, no one seemed more fitting to inherit the legacy of the emperor than Nan Gong Hao. He resolved to wait until Nan Gong Hao emerged from his seclusion before personally retrieving the coffin. As time slipped away, for years had passed in the blink of an eye. For cultivators, this duration is inconsequential. However, for the practitioners in the Donghuang region, the wait had been excruciating. This year marked the momentous occasion of Nan Gong Hao's coming-of-age ceremony, coinciding with the opening of the Hai Wang's secret realm. Compared to previous entries into the realm, individuals were now more eager to acquire various treasures within the Hai Wang's secret realm. Yet this time, many seemed even more intent on obtaining Nan Gong Hao. Throughout these 4 years, Nan Gong Hao's prowess had reached the zenith of the Qiyu realm, merely a step away from entering the Wangho realm. Yet, that very step remained an insurmountable barrier. As long as the next chain remains unbroken, he shall never pass. However, those 3 volumes of cultivation techniques, given his innate talent, have already been cultivated to an extraordinarily high level, and he has mastered a plethora of divine abilities. Consequently, at this moment, Nan Gonghao's combat prowess has become exceedingly formidable. The highest recorded power in the Kai Fu realm is 101 dragons, a legacy left by a great emperor. In the Qiyu realm, the method of calculation changes, as this stage has already manifested a domain akin to a nascent small world, representing the pivotal moment when a cultivator is about to ascend to the heavens. Thus, the power in the Qiyu realm is measured using the celestial dragon. There are 3 types of dragons: Zhenlong, Tianlong, and Feilong. Among them, the Feilong bloodline is the weakest, generally employed to evaluate the strength of realms below Qiyu. Upon reaching the Qiyu realm and possessing a domain, one is assessed by Tianlong's strength. As for the Zhenlong, only sovereigns can possess such a being. 1 Zhenlong is equivalent to 1,000 Tianlong, and 1 Tianlong equals 100 Feilong. Nan Gonghao has been diligently cultivating, but remains uncertain of the peak records of power in the Qiyu realm or his own strength. It seems the time has come to venture out and inquire. No, the imperial bloodsteel has shattered. How can I investigate? I wonder if the family has changed their methods of assessing power. With a sigh in his heart, Nan Gonghao yearns to ascertain where he stands in this world. For he has many challenges ahead. Whether it be the impending arrival of his fiancée at the coming-of-age ceremony, the mysterious Sea King's secret realm, or the multitude of formidable beings targeting him in the Donghuang region, these all present significant issues. As Nan Gonghao exited the cultivation hall, a maid swiftly approached to respectfully greet him. Yet, upon catching sight of Nan Gonghao, she froze in place, forgetting to bow. At the tender age of 10, Nan Gonghao was already strikingly handsome, irresistible in his charm. Now, at 14, though his cultivation has progressed slowly, his good looks and demeanor have skyrocketed. Chapter 24. Do you know the true pinnacle of the Qiyu realm? Nan Gonghao bears 3 remarkable manifestations: the 9 heavens calamity thunder, the celestial star chart, and the yin-yang phenomenon. Each is unparalleled, coveted by others who have toiled for countless years to attain such extraordinary manifestations. Thus, merely standing there, his tall figure enveloped in ethereal light, he exudes an aura of sovereign majesty, resembling a young supreme being who has perfected his divine skills, inspiring boundless reverence and submission. His celestial visage, as if crafted by the heavens, radiates the brilliance of the sun and moon, causing the maid to gaze at him with admiration. Infused with an added touch of infatuation, she stared dreamily at Nan Gonghao, her cheeks blooming with color, akin to a maiden enchanted by her long-desired beloved. Nan Gonghao cast a glance at the maid and sighed softly. The sound of his sigh jolted her back to reality. With a start, the maid fell to her knees in terror, repeatedly bowing her head in supplication. Divine Son, this servant acknowledges her transgressions. I deserve death. What have you done to deserve death? Nan Gonghao replied indifferently. This servant, in my ignorance, failed to pay proper respects to you, even daring to gaze upon you. Such a crime warrants 1,000 deaths. Please, Divine Son, punish me. The maid lay prostrate on the ground, utterly terrified. She silently vowed that even if the Divine Son imposed the harshest punishment, she could not harbor resentment towards him. For it was her own foolishness to entertain thoughts of marrying such an extraordinary talent, given her lowly status. Observing the maid's demeanor, Nan Gonghao waved his hand in exasperation. No need for that. you may rise. One cannot entirely blame the maid, for his striking looks are indeed beyond compare, a source of great distress. As Nan Gonghao strode towards the palace exit, the maid gazed at him from behind, her eyes filled with admiration and gratitude. On his way to the training grounds, those who encountered Nan Gonghao, particularly men, fared somewhat better. However, the maidens, including the elite daughters of the Nan Gong family, were utterly enraptured, their cheeks flushed. Who is this person? So handsome, so familiar. Is he the divine son? He seems even more charming. My legs feel weak just looking at his face. Look at the way you're smiling like that. How could the divine son notice you? My sister and I are twins. Perhaps we stand a chance to serve him together. Huh, twins, how impressive. Do you have any idea how many mother-daughter pairs adore the divine son? I wonder what the divine son is up to. I must follow him and see if I can get close, even if it means sacrificing all my dignity. A throng of enamored women chased after Nan Gonghao towards the training grounds. At the training field, the spot where the imperial bloodsteel should have been remained conspicuously empty. Nan Gonghao furrowed his brow. What is going on? Have you all not procured a new testing tool for power in the past 4 years? A maid accompanying him replied respectfully, Divine son, when you shattered the imperial bloodsteel, the Nan Gong family indeed sought to find another divine stone for testing power. Subsequently, it was discovered that 30,000 miles away, in a fire dragon cave, a true dragon was nearing its end. The dragon's bones and soul can be fashioned into a Zhenlong steel for power testing. Moreover, consuming the dragon's blood and flesh can grant one the strength to challenge the royal realm across boundaries. Just a couple of days ago, the Fire Dragon Cave transmitted a despairing dragon's roar, which likely indicates the true dragon's demise. The family has summoned 2 holy sons back, probably to retrieve the true dragon's corpse. Nan Gonghao's eyes gleamed. A true dragon's corpse? The ability to challenge the royal realm across boundaries? How intriguing. Inform the family head that I wish to join. The maid responded respectfully and proceeded to seek out the family head, Nan Gongxiong. As the divine son and the family head hold equivalent status, the maid naturally possessed the authority to relay messages to Nan Gongxiong. Soon, Nan Gongxiong replied, readily agreeing, for he too wished to ascertain how much Nan Gonghao had grown over the years. Moreover, cultivators must experience battle. Otherwise, it is difficult to bear significant responsibilities. Instead of meeting with Nan Gongxiong, Nan Gonghao directly approached the assembled Nan Gong family team, prepared to depart. The family had organized a small squad of 10 to retrieve the true dragon's corpse. 3 saints and 2 sovereigns were responsible for leading the expedition. The rest were disciples of the Nan Gong family, brought along to broaden their horizons and gain combat experience for their growth. Among these 5 disciples, 2 were holy sons, the 5th holy son, Nan Gonglai, and the 8th holy son, Nan Gonghua. These 2 brothers had always looked down upon the former 10th holy son, Nan Gongquang, and held him in disdain. However, at this moment, they could not regard Nan Gonghao with any greater esteem. If Nan Gonghao were to supplant the position of the 10th holy son, that would suffice. Yet he stands above all as the divine son. Every prodigy is inherently confident, even proud, and often rebellious. Such individuals would never permit themselves to be overshadowed. A prodigy must defy all constraints and possess the courage and conviction to overcome any challenge. Thus, when Nan Gonghao approached, even royal-level experts and powerful saints were compelled to bow in deference, while the brothers Nan Gonglai and Nan Gonghua merely stood, chest puffed out, coldly glaring at him. Nan Gonghao regarded the 2 indifferently, awaiting them to announce their identities. Nan Gonghua sneered and stepped forward. Divine son, I am the 8th holy son, Nan Gonghua. The Nan Gong family has a rule that anyone dissatisfied with a family ranking may challenge it. Therefore, I wish to challenge you. What is your realm? Nan Gonghao replied coolly. The pinnacle of the Qiyu realm, I have condensed a formidable aura spanning 90 zhang. Do you dare to battle me? Nan Gonghua unleashed his power, his eyes ablaze with combat fervor. In the Qiyu realm, the fusion of vital blood and the spiritual essence of heaven and earth coalesces to form a unique aura. This aura constitutes the domain. Within this domain, celestial dragons, born of vital blood, suppress all with their might, capable of distorting and restraining foes, rendering it immensely powerful. Furthermore, with each elevation in the Qiyu realm, the aura's radius expands by 10 zhang. At the pinnacle of the ninefold realm, the total aura spans 90 zhang. Nan Gonghua is indeed formidable. Despite being merely 16 or 17 years of age, he has already reached the pinnacle of Qiyu realm. This is a level that many do not attain even by the age of 70 or 80. It is no wonder he is so arrogant. However, Nan Gong Hao gazed at Nan Gong Hua with a look of pity and said, "In truth, I have just emerged from seclusion and am uncertain of my own combat capabilities, yet I am acutely aware of the extent of my aura. Are you familiar with the concept of Jiu Han Yuan Tian?" Upon hearing this, Nan Gong Hua's expression changed dramatically, and he took several steps back in disbelief, exclaiming, You have condensed Jiu Han Yuan Tian." The onlookers around them gasped in astonishment. Even the accompanying royal-level experts and saintly figures from the Nan Gong family wore expressions of bitter surprise. Jiu Han Yuan Tian. This was a feat they had not achieved. Truly, the Divine Son is exceptional, a prodigy beyond compare. The women of the Nan Gong family looked on with sparkling eyes at Nan Gong Hao. He is handsome and powerful, the epitome of an ideal partner. Such a rarity. Yet, amidst the crowd's astonishment at Nan Gong Hao's talent, a sudden voice broke through. The Qiyu realm condenses its aura, and with each elevation in realm, the distance increases by 10 zhang, since the highest realm is 9 layers. The maximum aura one can condense is 90 zhang. However, those with extraordinary talent can forcibly transcend the laws of nature, condensing an additional 9 zhang of aura, resulting in a total of 99 zhang. This is what is known as Jiu Han Yuan Tian. It is said that while an ordinary aura can defend against many attacks, it cannot guard against or distort assaults on the soul. Yet, Jiu Han Yuan Tian has begun to form a world of its own, capable of imprisoning souls and even contending with those in the Wangho realm, rendering it immensely powerful and exceedingly rare. Divine Son, your ability to condense Jiu Han Yuan Tian is indeed remarkable and worthy of admiration. But how can you be so certain that others cannot? The fifth saint's son, Nan Gong Lai, stepped forward with a solemn expression. With each step he took, his aura expanded by an additional 10 zhang. Eventually, he stood before Nan Gong Hao, his aura reaching 99 zhang, exuding an overwhelming presence. He too had condensed Jiu Han Yuan Tian. He is also a super genius. Chapter 25, Nan Gong Quang challenges Nan Gong. Lai's accomplishment stunned the entire assembly. Even Nan Gong Hua was filled with excitement, having only just learned of this revelation. Ha ha ha, Divine Son, I concede that I am inferior to you. But do you dare to challenge my elder brother? Nan Gong Hua provocatively regarded Nan Gong Hao. Nan Gong Lai's aura encompassed the heavens, unwavering in its might. Nearby, several elders from the Nan Gong family frowned, unsure whether to intervene. After all, they were en route to claim the true dragon corpse. Sustaining injuries beforehand would be akin to courting trouble. Yet, these were prodigies, and persuasion was futile. While the elders remained silent, the women of the Nan Gong family were less restrained, vocally defending their idol. What nonsense, eighth saint's son. You yourself have admitted your shortcomings. Why provoke our Divine Son? Indeed, do you not understand the principles of seniority and respect? If it were not for my status as an elder, I would certainly teach these two youngsters a lesson with my Wang Ho strength. Moreover, Nan Gong Lai is no saint either. Our Divine Son achieved Jiu Han Yuan Tian at just 14. You only reached it at 16. What is there to boast about? A chorus of disdainful remarks filled the air. Nan Gong Hua trembled with anger, pointing at the women of the Nan Gong family. You sycophants? Nan Gong Lai disregarded the surrounding comments and fixed his gaze on Nan Gong Hao. Divine Son, do you dare to fight? Although Nan Gong Hao was merely 14, he stood nearly as tall as Nan Gong Lai. With an air of arrogance, he clasped his hands behind his back, casting a condescending glance at Nan Gong Lai before coolly stating, "If you wish to compete, that is acceptable, but it shall not be a duel between the two of us. Are you afraid?" Nan Gong Lai frowned in dissatisfaction. No, the true dragon corpse is coveted by more than just the Nan Gong family. Other factions, including numerous demonic beasts, will also seek it. Perhaps we should instead compete to see who can slay more enemies, thus avoiding needless internal strife. And I need not hold back for fear of injuring you. Nan Gong Hao spoke indifferently. Nan Gong Lai's expression darkened. He had not anticipated that his challenge to Nan Gong Hao would be met with such a retort. Just as he was about to respond, his voice was drowned out by the voices of the women from the Nan Gong family, praising Nan Gong Hao. Many lauded his farsightedness. Even the elders leading the group cast appreciative glances at him. Seeing this, Nan Gong Lai, though feeling frustrated, could only grit his teeth and think, just wait, I have been training outside for 2 or 3 years. How could I possibly be inferior to someone whose only experience is being cooped up in seclusion? A heavenly punishment? Nan Gonghua harbored his own resentment. In a one-on-one confrontation, he might not be a match for Nan Gonghao. However, when it came to killing enemies, he was a bloodthirsty warrior. This innate quality only grew stronger with each battle. The more foes he vanquished, the more powerful he became, excelling in the art of slaughter on the battlefield. Over the past 2 years, he had slain no fewer than 800 demonic beasts, the majority of which were from the Qiyu realm. Both Nan Gonglai and his brother were eager to confront Nan Gonghao. Meanwhile, Nan Gonghao paid little heed to the two, following the group onward. In the vicinity of the Fire Dragon Cave, within the territory of the Nan Gong family, the vast expanse ruled by the Undying Forces was immeasurable. However, a large territory does not guarantee the prevention of enemy incursions. At present, the Fire Dragon Cave was ostensibly under the full control of the Nan Gong family, yet numerous demonic beasts had gathered, poised to ambush. Upon arrival, Nan Gonghao and his companions discovered that over 1,000 demonic beasts were lurking, intent on seizing the true dragon corpse. After all, it was a true dragon. Consuming its flesh and blood could enhance one's bloodline and combat prowess. Many sacred beasts and royal beasts were also present. Although they no longer required true dragon blood, they had their own offspring to consider. The arrival of the Nan Gong family prompted many sacred and royal beasts to gather, preparing for confrontation. One young member of the Nan Gong family, upon witnessing this, laughed and said, "This time, we have a saint leading us. The top-tier experts from both sides will restrain one another, allowing our younger generation to compete fairly. It cannot be better." Hearing this, 2 other young members of the Nan Gong family nodded in agreement. However, Nan Gonghao immediately rebuked, "Foolishness. This is the territory of my Nan Gong family. Everything here rightfully belongs to us. They come to seize it and should be expelled. How can this be called fair competition?" Nan Gonglai snorted in dissatisfaction, casting an annoyed glance at the other 3. He too had intended to voice this sentiment, but was preempted by Nan Gonghao. The other young members fell silent. Meanwhile, the elder of the Nan Gong family, a saint-level figure, coldly admonished, "A pack of wretches daring to invade my Nan Gong family's territory to snatch the true dragon corpse. Do they seek death?" Boom! The power of several leading experts from the Nan Gong family surged forth, intermixed with the strength of their sacred artifacts. Saints can forge sacred artifacts, and as saints of the Undying Forces, the artifacts of the Nan Gong family are superior to others. The sacred beasts recoiled in fear, instinctively wishing to withdraw. There was no other option. The Nan Gong family was too powerful and too domineering. If they retreated now, they would still have a chance. Should they resist stubbornly and force the Nan Gong family to dispatch a large army for reclamation, their fates would be sealed. This is the confidence of the Undying Forces. Regardless of what sacred beast or formidable strength you possess, in my domain, you shall obey. Yet, just as these demonic beasts quailed in fear, a distant pressure from another sacred artifact surged forth, countering the oppressive force from the Nan Gong family saints. Nan Gonghao looked on with confusion, but his expression swiftly hardened. "The people from Bei Wuguo have arrived," the leading saint of the Nan Gong family bellowed. "How dare Bei Wuguo invade my Nan Gong family's territory? Do you wish to declare war? If war is what you desire, then so be it. Who fears whom? However, you are undying, and so are we. It is not worth inciting an undying conflict over a mere fire dragon. Instead, why not let our juniors compete against one another?" The people of Baiwuguo have proposed a collaboration. In the distance, powerful beasts have gathered, expressing their desire to ally with Baiwuguo. Together, they pressurize the Nan Gong family to acquiesce. The saint leading the Nan Gong family wears a grim expression but is unable to make a decision and can only look towards Nan Gonghao. "Young master, what do you think we should do?" Observing a saint-level powerhouse seeking the opinion of a mere child, the leaders of Baiwuguo and the beasts cannot help but mock. Yet, Nan Gonghao merely fixates on a figure within the Baiwuguo ranks and coldly declares, "Agree to their terms, then slaughter them all." Upon hearing this, Nan Gonglai's face darkens as he rebukes, "How can you compromise? This is the territory of the Nan Gong family. Even if a battle ensues, we can fight to the last breath until help arrives. You are merely boosting their morale while diminishing our own." Nan Gonghua scornfully adds, "What a farce of a young master. You acted so righteous, yet now that Baiwuguo and the beast have allied, you have grown fearful?" Nan Gonghao disregards the two and addresses the nearby saint powerhouse. "Convey our agreement." The saint, although feeling uneasy about the decision, must suppress his discontent and obey due to Nan Gonghao's equivalent status to that of the family head. The saint then loudly announces towards Baiwuguo, "We accept your demands. But no powerful beings may intervene, nor may those above the Wangho realm participate. Naturally, Bai Wuguo and the beasts agree. For the benefits of absorbing the true dragon's blood diminish for those above the Wangho realm, favoring those of the Qiyu realm or below. They believe their descendants can hold their own against those of the Nangong family, especially since the latter as participants are not the finest of their lineage. However, under the angry and perplexed gazes of the crowd, Nangonghao imposes an additional condition, pointing at a figure within the Bai Wuguo ranks. I demand that he participate. The members of the Nangong family, following his gesture, are filled with rage upon recognizing the individual as Nangong Quang, the former 10th holy son who betrayed the family. Clad in Bai Wuguo's attire, he provocatively glares at the Nangong family. As Nangonghao insists on Nangong Quang as participation, the Nangong family finally comprehends his motive for conceding to Bai Wuguo's demands. For Nangong Quang only dares to fight when shielded by others. Nangonghao's intention is not fear of Bai Wuguo, but rather to eliminate the traitor, Nangong Quang. Those who previously misunderstood Nangonghao now feel remorse. Nangong Lai, feeling somewhat awkward, steps forward and declares, Nangong Quang, I shall slay you. Not so fast. Do not forget the primary objective of this endeavor. Nangonghao replies indifferently. Nangong Lai grumbles, yet refrains from countering. Nangong Quang steps forward, mocking Nangonghao. Little brat, I have awaited you for long. Today, your blood shall cleanse my humiliation. In the distance, several beasts emerge. While the lesser beasts are inconsequential, the leading few, descendants of the holy beasts, are particularly striking. The three-eyed jade lion, an ancient lineage with a long-standing bloodline, possesses an innate strength. Upon birth, it is accompanied by 3 laws: the soul confusion law, the illusion-breaking law, and the penetration law, each contained within its 3 eyes. Thus, even though this lion is merely at the 8th level of Qiyu, not even those of the Wangho realm dare to provoke it. The one-horned wild bull, another ancient bloodline, dedicates its life to mastering a single law, the law of strength, culminating in unparalleled power capable of shattering the heavens. The purple flame fire lion, perpetually ablaze with a fierce purple flame, can inflict harm upon the soul, annihilating all existence. Numerous other formidable and ferocious races have also arrived, all of whom are the paragons of their respective powers and proudly stand before the Fire Dragon Cave, coldly gazing at the Nangong family. Bai Wuguo has not only brought Nangong Quang, but also 5 prodigies, all at the Qiyu level. As Nangonghao leads his group and observes the multitude of enemies surrounding them in a semicircle, he coldly commands, step aside. The crowd's expressions shift, filled with fury. Nangong Quang bellows, you are exceedingly arrogant. We should enter together. Together? You think you deserve that? Nangonghao retorts, releasing his aura. The 99 mixed Yuan heaven. A violent aura envelopes the area, forming a nascent world. Within this small world, laws intertwine, and the roar of heavenly dragons resonates, showcasing a staggering power of 101 dragons. This frenzied miniature world crashes forward, leaving the gathered prodigies in shock, forcing them to retreat and relinquish their advantageous position at the entrance of the Fire Dragon Cave. The Qiyu realm not only possesses an aura, but also the condensed power of heavenly dragons. Other peak Qiyu realm powerhouses have merely 90 dragon powers, and even Nangong Lai, who has also condensed the 99 mixed Yuan heaven, possesses only 99 dragon powers. Nangonghao's 101 dragon powers undoubtedly transcend the laws of heaven and earth. Standing proudly, his hair billowing without wind, and his demeanor haughty, he possesses the capital to act so. Everyone present understands that if he survives, he will undoubtedly become supreme. Initially skeptical, Nangong Lai's brothers now exhibit a drastic change in expression, realizing the terrifying potential of Nangonghao. Nangong Quang and the other enemies are equally taken aback, their expressions grim. They did not anticipate encountering such a formidable adversary. However, from a distance, the saint leading Bai Wuguo sneers, just like his father, foolish and unguarded, flaunting his talent without realizing he will be besieged. The holy beasts nod in agreement, acknowledging the reality. Possessing talent is one thing, flaunting it is another. All prodigies possess unique gifts, but if one's talent surpasses all others to the point of being monstrous, one cannot expect to display it without becoming a target for all to see. Unsurprisingly, the enemies who originally intended to select opponents for themselves now lock their sights solely on Nangonghao. Once they enter the Fire Dragon Cave, the onslaught will be directed primarily at him. Nangong Hao will bear over 80% of the main attacks. You should not reveal all your talents. With your limited battle experience, you are no match for these battle-hardened beasts, especially since Nangong Quang must have his own confidence and means, making him even more dangerous. Nangong Lai states coldly, "The path of cultivation is one of defiance against the heavens. It requires unwavering will. If you are timid, it is better to return home and farm." Nangong Hao scoffs derisively and strides forward. Behind him, Nangong Lai's gaze turns frosty. The others reluctantly make way for Nangong Hao. Some compelled, others with ulterior motives. At the entrance of the Fire Dragon Cave, there exists a barrier left by the true dragon to prevent outsiders from entering. "Break it," Nangong Hao states indifferently. The saint of the Nangong family immediately summons a sacred artifact and bombards the cave entrance. The barrier is swiftly shattered. Nangong Hao steps forward into the cave. Nangong Quang, with a sinister smile, follows closely behind, even entering before Nangong Lai and the others. Nangong Lai furrows his brow slightly, but remains silent. Suddenly, explosive energies surge from within the true dragon cave. Just moments ago, Nangong Quang, who had rushed in first, comes stumbling back, his face filled with rage as he shouts, "Nangong Hao, do you wish to fight now?" The crowd is astonished. It was indeed Nangong Hao who expelled him, who permitted you to enter before the disciples of the Nangong family. Anyone who dares to intrude again shall be slain on the spot. Nangong Hao's icy voice echoes from within the cave. Hearing this, the expressions of those from other factions turn grim, their fists clenched in anger. Especially Nangong Quang, who feels the reproachful gazes of Bai Wuguo and others, is seething with hatred towards Nangong Hao. He knows he came specifically to seize benefits, to present treasures to Bai Wuguo, and elevate his own status. Failure is simply not an option. Unexpectedly, at the very beginning, I was struck down, a most humiliating experience. However, the members of the Nangong family were in full agreement with Nangong Hao's actions. Even the most disgruntled, Nangong Lai, had to concede that such audacity was precisely the temperament that the Nangong family should embody. In the distance, the sage of the Nangong family raised his brow in triumph, deriding, "Our Nangong disciples embody bravery, formidable spirit, and unparalleled will. Thus you, the people of Bai Wuguo, can only trail behind us, scavenging our discarded, useless disciples." The expressions of the Bai Wuguo crowd turned icy, and their leading sage gritted his teeth, stating, "Let us hope your divine child can still emerge." The members of the Nangong family chuckled derisively, brimming with confidence. They were aware that the strongest among their shadow guards, Ing Yi, was tasked with safeguarding Nangong Hao. Ing Yi was an extraordinary genius, a top-tier powerhouse, whose strength surpassed that of everyone present, ensuring Nangong Hao's safety. Regrettably, the complacent members of the Nangong family were oblivious to the fact that Ing Yi had been dispatched to tail Suchun. At present, Nangong Hao was utterly unprotected. As Nangong Hao and his companions ventured into the Fire Dragon Cave, they were immediately enveloped by an intense heat, compelling them to activate their defenses. The power of the true dragon was indeed formidable. Even in death, it surpassed the realm of Qi Domain. An extraordinary beast lamented, "Be cautious, this fire is toxic." Nangong Hao warned the few behind him with a frown. The true dragon was likely of the toxic fire variety. Thus its dwelling was suffused with scorching toxins capable of corroding both soul and flesh. Upon hearing this, the other members of the Nangong family swiftly harnessed their power to shield themselves. Nangong Hao, however, drew forth the Dizong Binyuan Dao, its blade emanating a chilling aura that clarified his mind, rendering him impervious to the ravages of flame and poison. The others also began to fortify their defenses, fearing they might perish before achieving their goal. The Fire Dragon Cave extended deep and descended further, presumably leading to the molten core of the earth. Soon, they encountered a fork in the path. 3 passageways stretched before them, each seemingly leading to different destinations. Yet from every angle, the 3 forks appeared identical. Faced with indecision, Nangong Hao chose the middle path without hesitation. Observing his choice, the others followed suit, many opting for the other 2 paths, knowing they could not contend with Nangong Hao. However, the members of Bai Wuguo entered the central passage without a moment's hesitation. A few ancient bloodline beasts also followed suit, regardless of the fire dragon's presence. A deceased dragon could not escape. Yet, the Dizong Binyuan Dao in Nangong Hao's possession was indeed a prized artifact. Chapter 27. You are surrounded by me alone, the Emperor-grade weapon. Dizong Binyuan Dao was in the hands of the Tianqian divine body of the Nangong family. This fact was well known throughout the eastern wilderness. Thus, once Nangong Hao entered the middle fork, anyone confident enough to seize the treasured blade followed him. Nangong Hao led the way, descending deeper. The cave had been scorched by high temperatures for eons, its walls charred and devoid of life, with no spiritual herbs or treasures to be found. Therefore, even as they progressed, they would scarcely acquire any benefits. After traversing over 100 zhang, a chilling voice echoed from behind. Nangong Hao, do you find this place suitable for your eternal rest? With a sudden halt, Nangong Hao turned coldly to face Nangong Quang. I thought you could at least endure until the bottom of the Fire Dragon Cave. However, it figures, if you truly possess such resolve, how could you commit the foolish act of betraying the Nangong family? Upon hearing this, Nangong Quang's expression twisted in rage, bellowing, silence. You, who relied on the oppression and humiliation from the ancestors of the Nangong family, truly believe that is your prowess. Let me inform you, today I shall single-handedly obliterate you. As Nangong Quang's words fell, the other members of Bai Wuguo spread out to block the exit, simultaneously locking onto Nangong Lai and the others to prevent their interference. The formidable beasts, such as the three-eyed jade lion and the unicorn bull, glared icily at Nangong Hao, having harbored disdain for this arrogant divine child. Moreover, with the Dizong Binyuan Dao in his possession, they certainly would not allow Nangong Hao to escape. Seeing the escape route sealed and everyone filled with murderous intent towards Nangong Hao, Nangong Quang could not help but feel a sense of triumph. Nangong Hao, continue to be arrogant. Do you now regret leading the way solely for the sake of pride, leaving yourself without a route of retreat? Nangong Quang fixed his gaze on Nangong Hao, hoping to catch a glimpse of regret or fear on his face. Yet, Nangong Hao remained indifferent. Even Nangong Lai and the others were merely smirking, devoid of any fear or remorse. Nangong Quang, have you ever considered that while you trash can resist the fire poison with your own strength, I must rely on the Dizong Binyuan Dao for protection? Nangong Hao inquired nonchalantly. Upon hearing this, Nangong Quang and the others turned pale. You are deliberately luring us here. There are ambushers. Is it the shadow guards of the Nangong family? But weren't your shadow guards dispatched? Nangong Quang's panic surged as he scanned his surroundings. He had made thorough preparations before coming, even discovering that Ying Yi was absent. Yet, at this moment, he was still filled with trepidation. Nangong Hao shook his head. I have not summoned any ambushers, but I must inform you of one thing. All of you are surrounded by me alone. Upon hearing this, Nangong Quang laughed in anger. Are you out of your mind? How can one person surround us? At this point, Nangong Quang suddenly realized, oh, you mean to say you possess the Jiu Hun Yuan Tian, don't you? Unfortunately, your aura extending 99 zhang is your limit. We also have our own auras to oppose yours. Can so many of us not withstand you alone? The others regarded Nangong Hao with scornful derision, believing he was either frightened or merely posturing. Even the three-eyed jade lion was filled with regret. Damn it, this divine child is an arrogant fool. Killing him would be a piece of cake. I should not have wasted my time following. Beside it, the unicorn bull snorted dismissively, disappointing. With such a divine child, the Nangong family will inevitably decline from an immortal power. Indeed, perhaps we can share in the resources of the Nangong family and enjoy a lifetime of glory. Look, he comes. He comes. This foolish child approaches. Nodrus, honestly, I want to see how he plans to surround us. Ha ha ha, splendid, splendid. Nangong Hao, come here. Surround us. Hurry. Amidst the cacophony of mockery, Nangong Hao revealed a charming yet perilous smile, then stepped forward lightly. With a single step he advanced, and behind him surged a tremendous thunder, a manifestation of the nine heavens' calamity, thunder. With a second step, endless stars appeared above, the celestial map unfolding. With a third step, the yin-yang fish spiraled around him, an embodiment of cosmic duality. The three grand manifestations surged into the Jiu Hun Yuan Tian. Indeed, the legends held true. Jiu Hun Yuan Tian represented the pinnacle of the Qi domain. Yet, what if it were augmented by manifestations? Nangong Hao smiled broadly, arms outstretched, as if to claim dominion, like a deity descending. Boom! Within the Jiu Hun Yuan Tian, a sudden transformation occurred. It truly evolved into a complete miniature world, within which 101 celestial dragons danced wildly. This small world harbored a sun, a moon, and myriad stars. Thunder erupted, like furious lightning tearing through chaos, awakening all things in the world. Tao gives birth to one. One transforms into yin and yang. Yin and yang coalesce into the firmament and earth. Let me ask you, Do you know what a divine child truly is? You cannot possibly believe that this divine child requires the blood of a true dragon to combat kings and nobles. Can you? I apologize, but doesn't my existence highlight your ignorance? With fiery battle intent blazing in his eyes, Nangonghao enveloped all present, both human and beast, within the miniature world, effectively severing their escape routes. He had truly accomplished it, surrounding everyone with but his own strength. How infuriating! Nangong Quang was utterly enraged and filled with terror. The world was collapsing. The laws were laid bare. How could one possess such formidable strength? Enough of the nonsense. Kill him directly, or we shall all perish, shouted a young lord accompanying the Baiwuguo delegation in fury. Indeed, eliminate him. Otherwise, he will surely become a supreme being, destined to ascend as a great emperor. Kill him. Let us all attack together. Revealing one's talents too soon is sheer folly. Let's strike as one. This individual has remained in seclusion for far too long. His combat skills must be lacking. We, seasoned warriors, can easily vanquish him with our experience. A frenzied horde surged forward, intent on slaughtering Nangonghao. However, Nangong Lai and his companions were momentarily stunned, having been awed by Nangonghao's formidable prowess. By the time they regained their composure, they realized they could not enter Nangonghao's small world. Divin Song, a talented scion of the Nangong family, cried out in desperation. Allow us to assist you. Go and retrieve the true dragon's corpse. Nangonghao responded indifferently, simultaneously wielding the Dizong Binyuan knife to strike at the fastest charging beast. This beast was a sword-fang demon goat, a species renowned for its agility and speed. Its fangs, resembling swords, would naturally fall away upon maturity, transforming into two exceptionally sharp blades capable of cleaving mountains and rivers. At that moment, the sword-fang demon goat lunged forward, its dual blades raised overhead. Twin Fang Hurricane Slash. A tempest of sword light rained down upon Nangonghao, creating the impression that he would be reduced to countless fragments in the next moment. Yet, a black blade effortlessly cleaved through all assaults, striking the dual fangs and slicing through the sword-fang demon goat along with them. One strike, the pinnacle of the killing domain. It was a kill against a beast renowned for its defenses. The demise of the sword-fang demon goat left the crowd gasping in disbelief. However, this only fueled the attackers' frenzy, intensifying their assault on Nangonghao. Nangonghao remained unfazed, his thunder battle armor coalescing around him, his right hand gripping the Binyuan knife, while his left hand summoned a colossal thunderhammer. With a thunderous boom, the power of the celestial stars coursed into the thunderhammer. A unicorn barbarian bull charged forth with a mighty bellow. This breed cultivated the law of strength, and at its zenith, it could embody the essence of power itself. Its raw might could rend the heavens and earth, a force of sheer brutality. As the unicorn barbarian bull's hoof descended upon Nangonghao, it carried with it the sound of wind and thunder, capable of shattering mountains. The surrounding allies, initially joining in the onslaught, narrowly avoided being harmed by the surging energy, retreating in panic. Yet, Nangonghao struck back with his hammer, infusing it with the essence of 101 celestial dragons. With a resounding crash, the hammer collided with the bull's hoof, unleashing a torrent of condensed blood energy that enveloped both beast and warrior in a dense fog. Before Nangong Lai and the others could discern the outcome, the three-eyed jade lion and the golden-clawed, sky-rending tiger charged forth. Both were ancient bloodline beasts. The three-eyed jade lion, typically proud, opened all three eyes in recognition of the urgency. The illusory mind law conjured boundless illusions, inciting the darker thoughts within the weaker-willed beasts nearby, rendering them momentarily dazed. The shattering illusion law dispelled the blood mist surrounding Nangonghao. Subsequently, two beams of light pierced through, aiming to penetrate his form. The golden-clawed sky-rending tiger was even more ruthless, its claws manifesting innate gung metal sword chi. With a fierce swipe at the air, three streams of sword energy erupted forth, infused with the laws of metal and the tiger's own sharpened comprehension. Nangong Lai and the others felt a surge of trepidation. These were three formidable beings at the pinnacle of the domain, endowed with the bloodlines of ancient sacred beasts, far exceeding the strength of human cultivators of the same realm. Could Nangonghao, merely at the peak of the domain, truly withstand such an assault? Nangong Quang watched intently, waiting for Nangonghao to be grievously injured so he could seize the opportunity. In plain sight, a shriek shattered the air, and from the crimson mist of blood energy, a figure hurtled out, colliding with two beasts before coming to a halt. It was the unicorn barbarian bull, gravely wounded. In the next moment, the sky erupted with thunder. Dark clouds gathering as an endless storm of calamity loomed, radiating overwhelming pressure that instilled fear in all present. What audacity have mere beasts to act so brazenly? Who bestowed upon you such courage? Nan Gonghao emerged and scathed from the blood mist, a mocking expression adorning his face. The so-called shattering illusion law and the all-destructive Gung metal sword Qi had failed to harm him. A monster, truly a monstrous being. The three-eyed jade lion's pupils constricted in horror as it retreated, attempting to flee. But could it outrun the thunder? Moreover, one must not forget, this was within Nan Gonghao's Jiuzhou Hunyuan world. In an instant, the celestial star map and the forces of Yin and Yang descended, as if imbued with boundless power, weighing down upon them and rendering them immobile despite their fear. The three-eyed jade lion, the golden-clawed, sky-rending tiger, and the surrounding beasts trembled, helplessly witnessing the calamity descend upon them. For the past 14 years, Nan Gonghao had tempered his body with calamity thunder and refined his cultivation through celestial stars, rendering his form as solid as adamant. Furthermore, he had comprehended the laws of fortitude and defense. How could his defenses be breached? But these beasts were different. Calamity thunder was the very force they dreaded. With a deafening roar, the thunderstorm engulfed the realm, submerging all in its wake. The pain is unbearable. Spare me. I beg you, spare me. I am willing to submit. I am willing to become your steed. The once arrogant beasts were now begging for mercy and agony. Among them, the three-eyed jade lion and a few top-tier powers retained some dignity, refraining from outright pleas. Yet, they too suffered immensely, struggling against the overwhelming force. All present were left in shock. Whether it was the beleaguered Nan Gong Quang or Nan Gong Lai and his companions, they all stared in astonishment at Nan Gonghao. What is happening? What does this mean? A group of peak and late-stage domain masters faced off against a mere 14-year-old child, and yet he had defeated them in a single stroke? Some had not even managed to retaliate. The future emperor, Nan Gonghao, is one of the imperial families of Bai Wuguo. The young lord stammered in fear. I no longer wish to fight. Who is he, truly? Another youth from Bai Wuguo collapsed in despair, his heart shattered, knowing he could never cultivate again. Even Nan Gong Quang and his allies, though forcing themselves not to care, felt their resolve waver, their legs turning to jelly. They were devoid of any will to fight. Let us go. We must retrieve the true dragon's corpse. Nan Gong Lai gritted his teeth, forcibly leading the others away. He had to depart. If he stayed any longer, he feared his own resolve would shatter. To hell with this so-called talent, this so-called fifth sacred child. I shall return and resign. Before the eyes of all, Nan Gonghao strode past the myriad beasts until he stood before the still-resisting Nan Gong Quang. You have more tricks, don't you? Upon hearing this, Nan Gong Quang was jolted into clarity. A glimmer of hope and determination ignited in his eyes. Indeed, he possessed one final card. He was endowed with a unique beast god constitution, capable of absorbing the blood of beasts to gain their powers, even transforming into one. Before this confrontation, Bai Wuguo had injected him with the blood of a royal beast. Although he could not transform into a royal beast due to his body's limitations, Nan Gong Quang could harness this blood to amplify his strength without restraint, even at the cost of shattering his future to forcibly break into the realm of kings. Nan Gonghao, you have forced my hand. Nan Gong Quang gritted his teeth, a look of desperate determination crossing his face as he awakened the blood of the royal beast within him. With a terrifying roar, a shadow of a wild boar materialized behind him. Scarlet-eyed, frenzied boar. This clan is inherently endowed with the ferocious laws of rage, granting them a tenfold enhancement in strength upon entering a state of fury. Nan Gong Quang devoted himself entirely to unleashing the power of his beastly blood, thereby acquiring the laws of rage and continuously augmenting his own power. In an instant, he transcended the pinnacle of Qiyu realm, coalescing into the Wang Ho realm. Immediately, Nan Gong Quang's aura transformed, resembling that of a miniature world akin to Nan Gonghao's. Within this small world, 120 strands of celestial dragon power roared and intertwined, accompanied by numerous entangled laws. Remarkably, through the blood of the royal beast, Nan Gong Quang had also gained additional laws. However, this came at a price. He would henceforth remain forever confined to the second tier of the Wang Ho realm. At this moment, Nan Gong Quang's eyes burned crimson, resembling a furious wild boar. Filled with resentment as he fixed his gaze on Nan Gonghao, blaming him. It is all your fault. If it were not for you, I would not have been stripped of my identity as the Holy Sun. If it were not for you, I would not have betrayed the Nangong family and been looked down upon by Bei Wu Kingdom. If it were not for you, I would not have activated the royal beast blood, forever trapped in this realm. You must die. I will kill you, Nangong Quang shouted in despair, then recklessly unleashed his miniature world, colliding with Nangong Hao's realm. The two realms clashed fiercely, neither yielding an inch. This collision ignited a tidal wave of spiritual energy, further distorting the surrounding space. A fierce wind, sharp as blades, swept through, shredding everything in its path. The mountains shook and a trembling fire dragon cave could no longer withstand the force, resulting in a collapse. A massive pit, spanning 100 feet, emerged, exposing both Nangong Hao and Nangong Quang to the gathered onlookers. The powerful figures observed the clash between the two, and their expressions turned grave. They unmistakably sensed that Nangong Hao was merely exhibiting Wang Ho realm strength while still in the Qiyu realm. Yet, Nangong Quang had genuinely transformed into the Wang Ho realm. Upon witnessing the numerous fallen beasts around them, the many experts of the Nangong family changed countenance. They presumed that Nangong Quang had cunningly seized the opportunity to ambush these beasts, subsequently attacking Nangong Hao. Naturally, it was not only they who thought so. Others also attributed the devastation of the beast to Nangong Quang. After all, Nangong Hao was merely in the Qiyu realm, and only a fool would believe he could defeat these top-tier experts of the same level. It had to be Nangong Quang, utilizing his Wang Ho realm strength. Who was responsible? Damn it, you resorted to treachery. Protect the Holy Sun. The Nangong family members roared, ready to charge forward. The leading experts from Bei Wu Kingdom exchanged glances, then rushed forward as well. They had made up their minds. Hold back the Nangong family members. Delay them until Nangong Quang kills Nangong Hao. After all, Nangong Quang could defeat those beasts, and no matter how talented Nangong Hao was, it would only be a matter of time before he was eliminated. Chapter 29. The Book of Life and Death. Writing the verdict of life and death, seeing Nangong Hao ensnared by a former traitor, the members of the Nangong family rushed to his aid. However, several individuals from Bei Wu Kingdom stepped forward with smiles to obstruct them. The leading sage of Bei Wu Kingdom laughed heartily and said, Nangong Hu, what are you planning to do? Did we not agree that we would not intervene? Are you blind? Nangong Quang is already in the Wang Ho realm. We explicitly stated that no one from the Wang Ho realm would be allowed to interfere. The sage, Nangong Hu, admonished. Let us clarify. We said they could not interfere while within the Fire Dragon Cave. However, now they're outside the cave, are they not? The leading sage from Bei Wu Kingdom wore a mocking expression. Below, due to the cave's collapse, Nangong Hao and the others were now exposed in the open. Thus indeed, not within the cave anymore. Nangong Hu squinted at the obstructing figures ahead and coldly commanded, call the family for aid. Eliminate them all. The expressions of the Bei Wu Kingdom members shifted slightly, surprised by Nangong Hu's ruthlessness. The Nangong family undoubtedly possessed special means for distant summons. Someone activated the call for aid and promptly reported. The family has received the message and sent reinforcements. The leading sage of Bei Wu Kingdom snorted coldly. Nangong Quang. Hurry and take action. I will help you hold them off. If we seize the Dizong Ben Yuan knife, we will consider it a gain. Do not dwell on the true dragon's corpse. Meanwhile, Nangong, who had already led his men into the fray. Instantly, both sides clashed in a fierce battle, with the sages unleashing their powers in a wild display, tearing the heavens and rending the earth in a terrifying spectacle. The distant beasts merely watched the unfolding drama, observing both the sage battle and the confrontation between Nangong Hao and Nangong Quang. Nangong Quang also heard the sage's words. He longed to respond, but found himself at a loss for words, horrified to discover that his miniature world was barely able to match Nangong Hao's in strength. To make matters worse, the laws controlled by Nangong Hao were not only more numerous, but also more formidable. Thunder laws, earth laws, metal laws, explosive laws. He wielded them with remarkable ease. Nangong Quang had initially believed that the laws he comprehended from the royal beast blood would suffice. Yet he was now bombarded to the point of being unable to raise his head. In a fit of rage, he shouted, Nangong Hao, do you think you're impressive? You merely rely on your family's ancestors and quasi-emperor weapon. If you dare, put down your quasi-emperor weapon and face me in a fair battle. Nangong Quang bellowed, prompting disdainful looks from those around him. How shameless! A Wang Ho realm figure demanding a Qiyu realm opponent to lay down their weapon for a fair fight? Nangong Hao responded with a mocking expression. Your provocation has no effect on me, You should better consider whether your coffin lid should be sliding or flipping open, or perhaps a full-screen version. Nan Gong Quang, however, was oblivious to such nuances. He racked his brain for ways to distract Nan Gong Hao. Soon, an idea struck him, and he smirked sinisterly. Nan Gong Hao, you are soon to reach your coming-of-age ceremony, and your fiancé will surely attend, correct? I've heard she is a remarkable woman. Exceptionally talented. She is likely your age, yet already in the mid-Wang Ho realm. Alas, with your cursed physique, anyone who associates with you will only bring misfortune. You might as well kneel before me. I could take care of your prodigious fiancée, ensuring she has pleasant nights. How does that sound? By the way, what about your stunning mother? She used to treat me very well, often seeking me out in the dead of night for secret meetings. You know, back then, I had no idea who your father was. Ha ha ha. Nan Gong Quang unleashed an unending stream of filth, incessantly insulting and provoking Nan Gong Hao. The onlookers wore expressions of disdain and contempt. They understood that Nan Gong Quang was deliberately employing tricks, aiming to incite Nan Gong Hao into a reckless attack in a moment of rage, thus seizing the opportunity to strike. Yet, it must be acknowledged that this tactic was effective. It was well known that Nan Gong Hao had followed the ancestors since childhood. Thus, he had likely never faced hardship or engaged in battle. Such a genius was most susceptible to emotional instability, lacking combat experience. Although he possessed considerable talent and strength, being provoked by Nan Gong Quang would surely lead him to lose his composure. This is the consequence of insufficient combat experience. The Nan Gong family had been far too complacent. No, it should be said that Beiwu Kingdom was exceedingly cunning. They had certainly anticipated this. The thought arose in everyone's minds as they fixed their gazes on Nan Gong Hao. When they saw anger indeed rise upon his face, they all shook their heads in dismay. The outcome of this battle had become glaringly clear. The enraged Nan Gong Hao would undoubtedly be overwhelmed by Nan Gong Quang. Nan Gong Hao ignored the others, focusing solely on Nan Gong Quang, coldly declaring, I know you wish to provoke me, and I congratulate you. You have succeeded. Joy uncontrollably spread across Nan Gong Quang's face as he summoned the ferocious aura of blood and energy, conjuring a massive illusion of a demon pig, intending to suppress Nan Gong Hao. Yet, Nan Gong Hao merely stood indifferent, holding the Dizong Benyuan knife, whispering softly, Thus have I heard, Dizong Benyuan. The heavens show mercy, the earth grieves, and no wicked thoughts arise. Should any sentient being commit such sins, they shall fall into hell. As Nan Gong Hao's voice resonated, a radiant golden light erupted behind him. Subsequently, a majestic figure of a Buddha emerged from the golden glow. This Buddha sat upon a lotus, exuding boundless compassion, with a book in his left hand and a pen in his right. The title of the book read, The Book of Life and Death. With a stroke of the pen, he judges life and death. Nan Gong Hao pointed his blade at Nan Gong Quang and indifferently proclaimed, I hereby condemn you to death. With a commanding voice, the imposing figure of the Buddha smiled as he inscribed the name of Nan Gong Quang in the Book of Life and Death. In the next moment, resounding mantras echoed through the void, and the chains of the laws trembled violently. Before Nan Gong Quang could comprehend what was happening, his vitality surged forth, evaporating and vanishing into thin air. Subsequently, he aged at a visibly accelerated pace, his skin withering and wrinkled, his body bending in a decrepit manner. The signs of the 5 declines of heaven and man gradually began to manifest. No, no, no. Nan Gong Quang sensed his power dissipating and screamed in utter terror. The onlooking beasts and cultivators watched in horror, their hair standing on end. What kind of power is this? One utterance, and it has slain a noble. Even the combatants from the Beiwu Kingdom and the Nangong clan paused in astonishment. Is this the law of reincarnation? Indeed, it is that ultimate law. The sage from the Beiwu Kingdom stared at the disintegrating Nangong Quang, shouting in fear. Laws are categorized into 5 levels: primary, intermediate, advanced, super, and ultimate. In the 9th realm of the Keifu realm, the first 3 levels grasp the primary laws, the middle 3 levels the intermediate laws, and the last 3 levels the advanced laws. Only upon reaching the Qi domain realm can one comprehend the super laws, which are exclusive to the field of aura. The ultimate law, however, can only be accessed after a noble condenses a complete small world. Even if one can approach it, not everyone is capable of doing so, especially not with the reincarnation law, which stands at the pinnacle of the endless laws. Under the horrified gazes of the crowd, Nangong Quang's body transformed into a desiccated corpse, which then crumbled into a mound of yellow earth, scattering with the wind. The once proud noble, a paragon of his generation and bearer of royal beast blood, perished just like that. For a moment, people were at a loss for words. However, one thing became clear. The figures lying on the ground were not those felled by Nangong Kuang, but rather, it was Nangong Hao who single-handedly battled the multitude, subduing all beings of the same realm and nobles alike. Flee quickly. This child harbors great terror. One of the royals from the Beiwu kingdom revealed signs of fear, retreating continuously. His words jolted several other leading experts from the Beiwu kingdom. Yet, no one reproached this royal companion, because the minds of the leading experts from the Beiwu kingdom were singularly focused on one word: flee. Chapter 30. Suppression and consumption of flesh. The people from the Beiwu kingdom, gripped by terror, sought to escape. However, reinforcements from the Nangong clan had already arrived. The 10 elder protectors came forward, bearing the imperial artifact, the divine emperor seal. The colossal seal ascended into the sky, enveloping the 4 corners of the world and transforming it into a prison, ensuring that no one could escape. The people of the Beiwu kingdom did not expect the Nangong clan to arrive so swiftly, and they hastily sought aid from the distant beasts. Help us, or else the Nangong clan will slaughter you alongside us. Let us cooperate. Afterward, you may seek refuge in my Beiwu kingdom. The Beiwu kingdom is also an immortal power, and we will grant you a territory for free development. The few from the Beiwu kingdom fervently persuaded the strong beasts. The beasts exchanged glances, unsure how to decide. At this moment, the elder of the 3-eyed Jade Lion tribe stepped forward, speaking solemnly. Elders of the Nangong clan, one word from you, and we will withdraw immediately. The beasts turned their gazes toward the members of the Nangong clan, seeking to ascertain their stance. If the Nangong clan intended to target them as well, they would naturally resist. But if they were willing to spare them, they would depart at once. The members of the Nangong clan exchanged glances before collectively turning to Nangong Hao. After all, with the Divine Son present, he was expected to be the principal decision-maker. Nangong Hao had already restrained his power, appearing somewhat weakened. Even he found it challenging to contend against so many peers and even higher-level prodigies. Initially, everyone thought that given his weakened state, he would prioritize self-preservation and adopt a more conciliatory attitude. However, to their surprise, Nangong Hao solemnly declared, "The people of the Beiwu kingdom must be eradicated. These beasts shall submit to the Nangong clan, and this matter will be concluded." Upon hearing this, the people of the Beiwu kingdom were not only startled, but also delighted, secretly cursing Nangong Hao as a fool, as this would surely provoke the beast tribes into rebellion. The beasts, indeed, turned pale with rage. Submit? What a joke. Many among them belonged to ancient tribes, existing longer than the Nangong clan itself. They had inhabited this land since time immemorial. If they were to declare their submission to the Nangong clan now, it would be nearly impossible to rise again in the future, and they would be ridiculed by the beasts of the world. Absolutely not. The saint beast of the 3-eyed Jade Lion tribe bellowed, "We will not agree to submission." The holy beast of the one-horned barbarian bull also glared icily. Many other holy beasts stood up, clearly indicating their intent to resist. The Beiwu kingdom rejoiced, for this was the outcome they desired. Only by forcing the beasts to the brink would they cooperate with them and flee the territory of the Nangong clan to seek refuge with them. Nangong Hao, in his arrogance, believed he was establishing authority. In reality, he was aiding the Beiwu kingdom in forming alliances. Yet, while the people of the Beiwu kingdom rejoiced, a 4-winged flying elephant holy beast slowly stepped forward, its voice deep. "Our clan is willing to submit." What? The numerous beasts and cultivators looked on in astonishment. Although the 4-winged flying elephant tribe did not possess an ancient bloodline, they dominated the surrounding area for millions of miles due to their formidable strength, ruling over the mountains and myriad beasts. Their clan also boasted several prodigies with exceptional talents, capable of contending for the position of supreme ruler in their generation. Why? Why betray us? The saints of the ancient tribes, such as the 3-eyed Jade Lion, were filled with fury, continuously questioning. The people of the Beiwu kingdom were equally perplexed. For although the 4-winged flying elephant tribe had participated in this affair, their prodigies had taken other paths and had not engaged in the assault on Nangong Hao, thus had no need to submit or apologize. However, the holy beast of the 4-winged flying elephant tribe ignored these individuals, gravely addressing Nangong Hao. "Your talent, Divine Son, is truly admirable. We realize that our clan's aspirations for imperial status in this era are unattainable, and we only hope for our prodigies to follow you." Upon hearing this, Everyone instantly shifted their gaze back to Nangong Hao. Yet, they saw him standing proudly, as if he had never experienced battle, clad in white garments as pure as snow. With an untainted visage, his hair, like strands of jade silk, danced in the wind amidst a flurry of defeated adversaries. The presence of this unparalleled young master rendered even the men devoid of any envy. As for whether or not one should admire Nangong Hao's strength and talent, none could dispute his appearance. I too submit. The holy beast of the Earth Barbarian Bear tribe stepped forward, bowing its proud head before Nangong Hao. Us as well. The Snow Ridge Wind Leopard tribe also emerged. With the submission of these three clans, other beasts followed suit. The once thousands of beasts, hailing from various tribes, now all chose to submit to Nangong Hao, to this extraordinary divine son. The expression of the Beiwu Kingdom's people turned grim. The ancient beast tribes were also filled with complex emotions. Meanwhile, the members of the Nangong clan were elated and filled with admiration. Previously, they had not accepted Nangong Hao as the divine son. Little did they expect that within less than a day, he would resolve the issues that had plagued the Nangong clan for millennia. It is worth noting that although these beasts resided within the Nangong clan's territory, they had been disobedient, perpetually causing chaos. The Nangong clan had resorted to violent measures on numerous occasions, even slaughtering several beast tribes. Yet these fearless creatures never relented. Now, however, Nangong Hao's displayed talent had finally subdued them completely. With this, Nangong Hao's position as the divine son was assured. In front of the many adoring demon beasts, Nangong Hao stood, enveloped in a mist of celestial light, exuding an unparalleled aura of majesty. He granted the others a mere 3 breaths to submit. Otherwise, they would face death. His voice, melodious as if sung by heavenly maidens, sent shivers down the spines of all who heard it. Above, the divine emperor's seal floated, emanating an aura of quasi-imperial might that instilled fear among the crowd. Unlike the Earth Store Bodhisattva's blade in Nangong Hao's hand, which, although also a quasi-imperial artifact, was constrained by his own power and had to assist in suppressing the calamities of the heavenly punishment divine body, thus failing to unleash its full potential. The divine emperor's seal, powered by numerous sages, could indeed wield its quasi-imperial authority to annihilate both humans and demon beasts alike. Moreover, the previously submissive 4-winged flying elephant and other holy beasts were eagerly awaiting the opportunity to prove their worth. Their cold eyes slowly widened as they surrounded those who refused to surrender, leaving the resistors at an absolute disadvantage. Even the proud, 3-eyed Jade Lion clan had no choice but to bow their heads, gritting their teeth and declaring, "I am willing to submit." But the Jade Lion clan cannot. Other ancient races shared the same sentiment. Then there is no need for you to submit. Nangong Hao waved his hand dismissively. The sages of the Nangong family were perplexed. The 3-eyed Jade Lion sensed that matters would not be so easily resolved. Suppress them, skin them, and consume their flesh, using their blood to refine the bodies of the Nangong disciples. Nangong Hao stated indifferently, "You dare." The 3-eyed Jade Lion was filled with rage, turning to flee. But escape was futile. The divine Emperor Seal unleashed a wave of quasi-imperial power that forcefully suppressed the holy beast. "Bring it back. The skin and bone shall be used for crafting, the flesh for consumption, and the blood to soak the Nangong disciples for body refinement," commanded the sage of the Nangong family wielding the quasi-imperial artifact. Witnessing this, the other sages and holy beasts could only roar in anger as they surged forward in defiance. However, numbers mattered little against the quasi-imperial artifact, especially with many sages from the Nangong family and the assistance of the submissive holy beasts. Soon, all those unwilling to submit were thoroughly subdued. The leader sage of the Beiwu Kingdom, as he faced imminent death, let out a frantic and venomous curse. "Nangong Hao, the Beiwu Kingdom will regard you as a lifelong enemy. The ancient races present will seek your life. One day you shall surely fall." Chapter 31. Have you also comprehended the true dragon treasure technique? Nangong Hao paid no heed to this so-called curse. Once he mastered the laws of causality, who could still curse him? As he observed the strong being subdued, the members of the Nangong family obediently stood by, awaiting the arrival of the true dragon's corpse. No one dared to oppose Nangong Hao any longer. He resembled a sovereign, awaiting the triumphant return of his generals. Before long, Nangong Lai and the others returned, albeit in a disheveled state. Each bore wounds, with one member of the Nangong family severely injured. Yet, they had managed to bring back the true dragon's corpse. As Nangong Lai approached, he noticed Nan Gonghao, standing before countless powerful figures, awaiting him, and the atmosphere felt peculiar. Soon he spotted his father, Nangong Wucong, among the rear ranks. Nan Gonglie's father, also a guardian elder and sage, stood there. "Father, we have fulfilled our mission." Nan Gonghua rushed over to take credit, presenting the spatial artifact containing the true dragon's corpse to Nangong Wucong. To his surprise, Nangong Wucong merely cast a cold glance at his son before respectfully stepping before Nangonghao. "Divine son, the true dragon's corpse has been retrieved. Please take a look." "Father, what are you doing?" Nangonghua exclaimed in disbelief. While theoretically, the divine son and the family head held equivalent status, surpassing the guardian elders. These elders typically obeyed the family head's directives rather than commands. Thus, Nangonghua found his father's respectful demeanor towards Nangonghao perplexing. Nangonglai, however, sensed something amiss. He realized that when his father presented the true dragon's corpse, no one expressed dissent or surprise. Even the previously unruly demon races stood obediently at a distance. Scanning the surroundings, Nangonglie's pupils constricted in shock as he noted the absence of the fierce, three-eyed jade lion and other formidable demon races, including Nangongquang and the people of the Bei Wu Kingdom. What transpired? Nangonghao accepted the spatial artifact and examined its contents. Within, a small space contained a colossal dragon stretching thousands of feet long. This dragon was a brilliant crimson, its scales sharp and radiant, its head held high, exuding an overwhelming presence as if it were still alive, poised to soar through the skies. Yet its soul had perished, ravaged by the passage of time. This realization filled Nangonghao with sorrow. Time, indeed, is the most formidable weapon, no matter how exceptional one may be, without achieving the status of an emperor. Neither the most gifted prodigy nor the supreme sovereign can attain eternal life. Suddenly, Nangonghao experienced an epiphany as he stared intently at the true dragon's corpse. The dragon before him began to writhe, as if truly revived. Subsequently, the true dragon coalesced into formidable treasures, manifesting the unparalleled techniques of the True Dragon Clan, True Dragon 9 Seals. Legend has it that the True Dragon's lineage dates back to ancient times, once the pinnacle of royal bloodlines. Their newborns were masters of the opening government stage, and, as they matured, they could ascend to the Sage Realm without the need for cultivation. The higher realms required only minimal training. The True Dragon 9 Seals were the peak techniques inherited from their bloodline, possessing immense power capable of shaking the heavens, splitting the earth, and shattering mountains. By wielding this treasure seal, one could embody the essence of the true dragon, instilling awe among all races. Nangonghao never anticipated that despite the true dragon's demise, he would still grasp a treasure technique. Such talent was truly extraordinary. One must admit that while his exceptional parents left behind little else, this talent alone was enough to sustain him for a lifetime. Nangonghao withdrew his consciousness from the spatial artifact and tossed it to Nangong Wucong, saying, "Take it to the family head for processing." "Yes, divine son," Nangong Wucong replied, accepting it respectfully. However, Nangonghua could no longer contain himself upon witnessing this scene, roaring in anger, "Brother, are you just going to watch this scoundrel humiliate our father? So what if he possesses the Jiu Hun Yuan Tian and displays strange phenomena? Let me tell you, my elder brother just comprehended a true dragon treasure technique from the magma, which is no less than yours." Hearing his son's provocation towards Nangonghao, Nangong Wucong's expression changed with the intent to reprimand. Yet upon hearing those words, he looked at Nangonglai in surprise. "Laya, did you truly obtain the true dragon treasure technique? Is it the True Dragon 9 Seals?" Nangonglai shook his head. "No, I comprehended the true fire laws and can summon the three realms' true dragon fire, drawing a wisp of true dragon essence into my body, enhancing my combat strength immensely." Good. Nangong Wucong rejoiced. Although it was not the pinnacle True Dragon 9 Seals, the ability to summon true dragon essence was sufficient to significantly boost one's power. Moreover, the true fire laws were a superlative law, far superior to ordinary fire laws. A breath of three realms' true fire could incinerate all in existence. To put it simply, even the current Nangonglai could easily annihilate the previous Nangongquan. In truth, Nangonglia's strength had already reached the threshold of the Qingho realm and could break through directly. However, this place was unsuitable for such a breakthrough. He wished to return home to achieve it, hence remaining at the Qi main stage. Filled with pride, Nangonghua cast a challenging glance at Nangonghao, as if to say, "What are you so proud of? Everyone has talent. My brother is stronger than you. Even Nangong Lai had regained his steadfast Dao heart and earnestly addressed Nangong Hao, saying, Divine Son, rest assured, I shall not challenge you at this moment. The heavenly punishment divine body ultimately has its limitations. Once you unlock the next heavenly lock and ascend to the Wang Ho realm, I shall challenge you in a rightful manner. Nangong Wu Tsang furrowed his brow upon hearing this statement. Although he did not believe his son would be defeated, Nangong Hao, governed by the laws of reincarnation, was indeed formidable. At that moment, Nangong Hao waved his hand and declared, I shall take charge. The flesh and bones of the true dragon will be entrusted to the family head, while the true dragon's blood will be given to Nangong Lai for immersion. Perhaps it will allow you to comprehend the true fire laws more perfectly. Nangong Wu Tsang hesitated. Nangong Lai frowned, asking, Are you trying to bribe me? Nangong Hao merely smiled, offering no explanation, and strode towards the proud beings of the demon race who were fixated on him, stating in a deep voice, Since you have chosen to submit to the Nangong family, it is best that you do so wholeheartedly. I detest traitors. The demon beings responded with scattered, respectful acknowledgments, evidently still exhibiting their inherently lazy demeanor despite their submission. With such a disposition, there was no doubt they could betray at any moment. Nangong Hao's expression darkened as he suddenly formed a seal with his hands. The true dragon 9 seals coalesced, and 9 colossal dragons roared forth, tearing through the heavens, enveloping Nangong Hao in an infinite aura of true dragon, as if a dragon king had descended. The might of the dragon was overwhelming, akin to a deep abyss or a prison. The oppressive force emanating from the depths of their bloodlines left all present, including the demons, in a state of sheer terror. In an instant, many fell to their knees. The demons trembled as they knelt, palms pressed to the ground, their foreheads touching the earth in sincere reverence. Although the emperors and saints remained standing, they too could not muster the strength to resist the tremors arising from their bloodlines. At the same time, they stared in disbelief at Nangong Hao. Chapter 32. The fiancé is coming, yet the fiancé has fled. The 9 dragons danced in the sky, the essence of the true dragon coursing through his being. Could this be the supreme divine art, the true dragon 9 seals? Nangong Wu Tsang exclaimed in astonishment. Those nearby gazed on in envy and awe, recognizing that such a spectacle could only be attributed to the true dragon 9 seals. The distant demons sensed the pressure even more acutely. The bloodline suppression forced them to bow their heads to Nangong Hao, completely submitting to him. So, who among you plans to betray me? Nangong Hao inquired coldly, clearly dissatisfied with their earlier responses. We shall eternally submit, harboring no second thoughts. The multitude of demons responded respectfully, their previous indolence entirely absent. If they had initially submitted to the Nangong family out of fear, now they revered Nangong Hao himself. The significance of the true dragon to these demons was ineffable. Nangong Hao's ability to comprehend the true dragon 9 seals signified that his talent had grown formidable enough to stand alongside the true dragon clan. In other words, yielding to him was akin to yielding to the true dragon. No demon would dare to refuse. Meanwhile, behind Nangong Hao, Nangong Lai's countenance fell into despair. He realized he had lost, utterly, completely, without a shred of dignity. Despite pouring all his strength into the endeavor, he could only summon a thread-thin essence of the true dragon. In stark contrast, Nangong Hao summoned a veritable ocean of true dragon essence, boundless and profound. Nangong Lai recalled his earlier assertion to wait until Nangong Hao reached the Wang Ho realm and was overwhelmed with shame. Why did he have to challenge this prodigy? Even Nangong Ho was taken aback, muttering as he retreated, Impossible. My elder brother hasn't even grasped the true dragon 9 seals. How could you possibly do so? Do you truly understand the profundity of the true dragon 9 seals? Nangong Ho nearly cried out in anguish. The true dragon 9 seals, each seal capable of subduing the 8 desolations. And the 9th seal could even establish an unparalleled emperor, dominating the central divine state and enjoying an everlasting era of prosperity. This was not only a supreme divine art, but also an unparalleled skill that could suppress the ages. How could it fall into your hands? I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it. Nangong Ho's eyes burned red, his aura in disarray, leading to a complete collapse of his Dao heart and a frenzy of his mind. He was driven to madness. Noticing his son in such a state, Nangong Wu Tsang's expression darkened. You disgraceful child. Lai take your brother away. Yes, father. Nangong Lai replied, his expression bittersweet as he cast a reverent glance at Nan Gonghao before swiftly ushering his brother away. Nan Gonghao observed the deranged Nan Gonghua, but paid him no mind. Though he had vanquished 2 holy sons, eliminating such a useless individual would be beneficial, sparing him from embarrassment. Moreover, he was destined to become a great emperor in the future. What kind of talent could he not cultivate? The elders and guards of the Nan Gong family shared similar sentiments, respectfully clearing a path, standing in 2 rows as they loudly proclaimed, "We welcome the divine son as he returns to the clan." In the distance, a magnificent carriage flew through the air, adorned with gold and jade, encircled by formations, and swirling with spiritual energy. It was a royal-grade magical artifact that would entice many first-rate forces. The carriage was pulled by silver Pegasus, agile beasts of the Qiyu realm, known for their speed, ensuring a smooth journey. Nan Gonghao gazed at the 2 Pegasus with a sense of reminiscence. This was the advantage of a noble birth. While everyone else was in the Qiyu realm, the Pegasus could only pull the carriage, yet he was escorted by a host of powerful figures, all showing him reverence and protection. Upon returning home, Nan Gongxiang and others had already received news of Nan Gonghao's comprehension of the true Dragon 9 seals and the submission of numerous demons, eagerly coming out to greet him. As Nan Gonghao's carriage appeared above the Nan Gong family, many guardians, elders, and disciples bowed their heads in respectful acclaim. "We welcome the divine son's return." Even Nan Gongxiang approached with a smile, visibly excited, saying, "Divine son, I heard you have comprehended the true Dragon 9 seals?" Nan Gonghao nodded. "Indeed, I shall enter seclusion now. Please handle these demons." "Ah, that would be best if you refrained," Nan Gongxiang quickly interjected. "In a month, the divine son's coming-of-age ceremony will take place. If you remain secluded, it may lead the visiting guests to believe we are timid." Nan Gonghao considered this. "Very well. I shall postpone my seclusion." "Good," Nan Gongxiang sighed in relief. "Will the divine son observe the creation of the true dragon steel?" "No, I have no interest." Nan Gonghao waved his hand and returned to his palace. Everyone respectfully saw him off, and no one in the family dared utter another word. After all, numerous demons were watching, and anyone who dared show disrespect to Nan Gonghao would likely be torn apart by them. With less than a month until Nan Gonghao's coming-of-age ceremony, various factions awaited this event. They anticipated Nan Gonghao's maturation, his entry into the Sea King's secret realm, and the unveiling of his Dizong Ben Yuan knife and the heavenly punishment divine body. Amidst the undercurrents of various factions, another force far from the eastern wastelands was also preparing: the Qin family. Nan Gonghao's fiancée, Qin Shuyao, was glaring discontentedly at her parents, saying, "Why am I not allowed to attend Nan Gonghao's coming-of-age ceremony? He is my fiancé." Qin Shuyao's mother sighed softly. The family head, Qin Wuhan, coldly remarked, "Do not think I am unaware of your intentions. This union is of great importance to our family. Even if Nan Gongghao possesses remarkable talent, do not entertain thoughts of breaking off the engagement." Qin Shuyao's expression was equally cold, yet it bore a hint of stubbornness. "Impossible. If he were truly a waste, he would only live in my shadow, feeling inferior for a lifetime. I cannot abide such torment." The strengths and weaknesses remained to be seen. Qin Wuhan frowned. He was not a prodigy himself, so he struggled to comprehend the source of his daughter's pride and even felt she was somewhat pretentious. However, Qin Shuyao merely shook her head, refraining from arguing with her father. She silently thought, "Nan Gonghao, I believe you will understand me, for we are both geniuses. I reiterate, if your talent is worthy of my recognition, I shall dedicate my life to accompany you. If you are not capable, then we must part ways." Someone, Gongfi King Suyao, she is not to be released without my command. Qin Wuhan issued a stern decree upon observing his daughter's defiance. Qin Shuyao, however, did not resist, for she was aware that assistance was on its way. Indeed, as she was being escorted to confinement, the guard responsible for her transport whispered, "Madam has bribed the guards. Here is the escape route from the Qin residence and some money for your journey." A subtle smile graced Qin Shuyao's lips as she grasped the items and promptly set off towards the Nan Gong residence. "Nan Gonghao, I am coming." Unbeknownst to her fiancé, Nan Gonghao, he was about to receive an unexpected visitor. Just as he returned to his palace, a shadowy figure appeared before him, bowing respectfully. "Divine son, Ing Yi has reported that Su Chun has obtained the emperor's legacy. Please, you must go at once." Nan Gonghao's eyes sparkled with intrigue. It seems Su Chun has flourished, proving himself a worthy candidate. "It is high time I reap the rewards." Ing Wei promptly advised, "It is prudent for the divine son to proceed with caution." as the legacy lies within the jurisdiction of Dongqing City. We must avoid drawing their attention. Nangong Hao found this reasoning sound. The four immortal factions had long been watchful of one another, possessing unique means to sense movements of those at the saint level and above. For instance, when the Nangong family ventured into their territory, the Fire Dragon Cave, they were easily tracked by the Baiwuguo. Thus, seeking the emperor's legacy in another's domain posed a greater risk. Stealthily embarking on this endeavor alone seemed the wisest course of action. Many would likely presume he awaited his coming-of-age ceremony, rendering him inconspicuous. First, he would quietly retrieve the emperor's legacy. Without delay, Nangong Hao departed from the Nangong residence. Chapter 33. You bear a resemblance to my wife. Nangong Hao stealthily made his way to Dongqing City. Having seldom ventured out previously, he occupied himself with studying the circumstances of the East Wilderness as he traveled. The four immortal factions of the East Wilderness were comparably powerful, each boasting ancestors who had once been emperors and possessed imperial artifacts, save for the Nangong family. The Nangong family, established the latest among the four factions, bore the unfortunate distinction of never having birthed an emperor. In truth, their ancestor had been exceptionally gifted, capable of dominating any era and deserving of the title emperor. However, they were eclipsed by a formidable rival whose prowess suppressed all competition throughout the ages. Notably, even the quasi-emperor Dizong and various alien prodigies fell before that emperor's might, illustrating the fairness of the Nangong ancestors' defeat. Fortunately, the Nangong family maintained a positive rapport with that emperor, who assisted in forging an imperial artifact. Otherwise, they might struggle to maintain their status among the four immortal factions. Additionally, the lack of an emperor meant the absence of an emperor's secret realm. The Sea King's secret realm of the Shihai clan had been left behind by an emperor and was now publicly accessible. In contrast, the secret realms of Dongqing City and Baiwuguo remained concealed, known to none. Hence, Nangong Hao was curious if the recently discovered emperor's coffin belonged to the emperor of Dongqing City. Yet, how could Dongqing City remain oblivious to such a significant matter, allowing outsiders to access it? Nonetheless, Nangong Hao did not perceive this as a trap. No fool would use the emperor's legacy as bait to ensnare enemies. With these thoughts in mind, he set forth on his journey. A treacherous expanse lay between the Nangong family and Dongqing City, necessitating a detour through the territory of Baiwuguo. Nangong Hao was undeterred. The vastness of Baiwuguo made it improbable to encounter any adversaries. Even if he did, they might not recognize him. However, his handsome visage posed a potential issue. Fortunately, prior to his departure, Nangong Hao had selected a disguise technique from the Nangong family's martial arts library, subtly altering his appearance. Yet, despite his efforts, his striking features remained evident, making it impossible to diminish his allure significantly. He reasoned that he would attract less attention than before and commenced his journey. Soon, Nangong Hao reached Baiwuguo. He sought out a tavern, not for rest, but to gather information regarding the local situation. After all, 2 saints and 4 monarchs had perished, along with several nobles. Baiwuguo was likely on the brink of chaos. As anticipated, the tavern served as an excellent hub for gossip. Before long, he overheard the news he sought. Hey brother, have you heard? Baiwuguo has suffered a tremendous loss. It involves the divine son of the Nangong family, right? I've heard all about it. That divine son is quite formidable. Not only did he allow the Demonis to ravage a first-rate family in Baiwuguo, but he also massacred so many people. Does he not fear Baiwuguo's retaliation? What do you know? That divine son is holed up in the Nangong family. Who can touch him? True enough. But let him come to Baiwuguo and see if I won't take him down. Listening to the conversation from the adjacent table, Nangong Hao felt a sense of helplessness. He longed to approach and reveal his identity, eager to witness their reactions. However, before he could act, the two continued their discussion. It won't be long before the divine son faces repercussions. I hear that Baiwuguo has located the Demonis in Dongqing City's territory. Is that so? They must intend to eliminate her. Eliminate her? That would be too merciful. The word is that they plan to collaborate with Dongqing City to capture her, publicly torment her to death, and see if the Nangong divine son dares to intervene. If he does not, he will be humiliated. No way. How do you know this? Of course. I have connections, a direct family member. My cousin's neighbor's uncle's grandson is a eunuch in the Baiwuguo palace, and he overheard the emperor's orders. Nangong Hao disregarded the drunken banter, contemplating whether he should intervene. He was aware of the situation involving the Demonis, Situ Rue, who had obliterated the Situ family and was categorized as a member of the demonic path. Her ruthlessness had astonished him. Yet, he felt a sense of satisfaction and admiration. What nonsense about the demonic path. Nan Gonghao intended to bring Situ Rue back and proclaim to the world, "This is my servant. Anyone who dares contest this will face the consequences." Fortuitously, Situ Rue was also headed towards Dongqing City. Perhaps their paths would cross. With this in mind, Nan Gonghao beckoned for the tavern attendant, tossing 200 spirit coins his way. Spirit coins were currency utilized by cultivators for their practices. The attendant, taken aback by the sum, hastily waved, "My lord, there's no need for so much. I shall cover the tab for the patrons at the adjacent table as well." Nan Gonghao replied with a smile. The two patrons at the nearby table turned their heads upon hearing this. One, a bearded man who was visibly inebriated, grinned at Nan Gonghao. "Brother, you're quite generous. What is your name?" "There is no need for formality. I am Nan Gonghao," he stated with a smile, rising to depart. The bearded man murmured Nan Gonghao's name, suddenly jolting awake. "Divine Son." His companion, equally startled, buried his head into the table. "I drank too much and fell asleep. Do not wake me, or I shall be furious." The bearded man, cursing inwardly, promptly lay down. "Oh, this wine hits hard. I'm also feeling woozy." The two men feigned unconsciousness on the floor as Nan Gonghao walked away without a backward glance. The tavern attendant regarded them with disdain. "Enough already. The man is long gone, and you still pretend." No sooner had he spoken than the two figures sprang to their feet and fled, not daring to look back. As Nan Gonghao made his way out, he anticipated being pursued or that the city would reinforce its defenses to prevent his exit, even launching a search for him. Yet, to his surprise, he left Bai Wuguo without encountering any trouble. He realized that the bravado displayed by those two men was merely talk. When faced with him, they lacked the courage to report him to the authorities, because they feared retaliation. Nan Gonghao shook his head in disbelief and continued his journey towards Dongqing City. He did not rush. Instead, he leisurely strolled and admired the scenery along the way. After 5 days, he finally arrived at Dongqing City. Upon entering the city, Nan Gonghao sought out a tavern, as usual. However, this time he sensed something amiss. There were no ordinary people in the tavern. All the patrons were cultivators, mostly at the Qi Domain realm, with a few of the Wangho realm. As Nan Gonghao entered, several female cultivators glanced at him, their eyes widening in astonishment. One particularly plump female cultivator, captivated by his appearance, instinctively exclaimed. Nan Gonghao touched his face, fearing his disguise had faded. Upon confirming that his disguise was intact, he was bewildered. Was he really considered handsome? Instinctively, several female cultivators nodded in agreement, their eyes sparkling with admiration. Nan Gonghao felt like crying. He had done his utmost to appear unattractive. He lamented his lack of skill in concealing his appearance. Under the watchful gazes of those female cultivators, he entered the tavern only to find no available seats, forcing him to share a table. "Young sir, come sit here. Join me for a drink of Tianlong blood wine. Your grace is remarkable. Surely you enjoy poetry. Why not join me, and we can indulge in poetic pursuits together?" A throng of elegantly adorned female cultivators eagerly beckoned him over, all anticipating his arrival. However, Nan Gonghao's attention was fixed on a table occupied by only 2 individuals, a man and a woman. While man was reasonably handsome, he paled in comparison to Nan Gonghao. Yet, it was not the man that captured his gaze. Rather, it was the young woman beside him who bore an uncanny resemblance to someone he knew. As he pondered this, a realization struck him. She bore a striking resemblance to his fiancée, Qin Shuiyao. Chapter 34. The Shihai clan, the petty Xing Yukong, without hesitation. Nan Gonghao approached the table and smiled. "May I join you two?" "Get lost," came the icy response from the man, while the woman replied with a welcoming tone, "Please, take a seat." Ignoring the man's frosty demeanor, Nan Gonghao sat beside the young woman, inquiring, "I am Nan Gong. May I know your name, fair maiden?" With a slight smile, the young woman replied, "Qin Shui." "Qin Shui? Do you know Qin Shuiyao?" Nan Gonghao probed cautiously. "Isn't she the daughter of the Qin family?" "I have heard of her. Do you know her?" Qin Shui's eyes flickered with caution as she subtly distanced herself. Observing her readiness to flee, Nan Gonghao found it perplexing. After a moment of reflection, he reassured her, "I was just curious. After all, your names are only 1 character apart." Qin Shui visibly relaxed. "Oh, it must just be a coincidence. Indeed, you do not resemble her. You are more beautiful and align better with my taste." Nan Gonghao chuckled, acknowledging the truth in his words. Qin Shuiyao always exuded an icy demeanor, while he preferred someone warm and lively, qualities Qin Shui possessed. "Thank you for the compliment." Qin Shui smiled, But unfortunately, you do not quite fit my aesthetic. I prefer more flamboyant men. Flamboyant? You mean the type who dares to tell anyone to scram? Nan Gonghao teased. Qin Shui understood he was alluding to the man beside her. She cast a sidelong glance at him, her expression revealing her discontent. Flamboyant does not equate to reckless or ill-mannered. The man, already displeased with Nan Gonghao's amiable exchange with Qin Shui, could no longer contain his frustration. Do you even know who I am? He spat. Before I inquire, may I ask your father's surname? Nan Gonghao replied nonchalantly. My father is Xingyu. Why do you ask about him? The man's haughty expression shifted to one of confusion. Because you do not catch my eye, Nan Gonghao replied coolly. How dare you? The man erupted, glaring at Nan Gonghao in fury. Do you not know the illustrious name of my Shihai clan? Continuing to mention your clan will only deepen my disdain for you, Nan Gonghao retorted scornfully. The surrounding patrons cast disparaging glances, recognizing the futility of flaunting one's lineage. Qin Shui, too, expressed her discontent, softly admonishing, Xingyu Kong, if you continue to embarrass yourself, go sit elsewhere. Xingyu Kong's face contorted with frustration. Had it been any other woman, he would have slapped her and walked away. Yet, Qin Shui was different. He knew her true identity as the daughter of the Qin family, Qin Shuiyao. Xingyu Kong was infatuated with her beauty and talent, but he was also aware of her engagement to Nan Gonghao, the scion of the Nangong family, with whom the Shihai clan had a long-standing feud. If Xingyu Kong could steal away Nan Gonghao's fiancée, it would be a devastating blow to the Nangong family. Though he dared not aspire to the throne, he could gain favor from his father and elevate his status within the Shihai clan. For his own future, Xingyu Kong bit back his anger and murmured, my apologies, Shui'er. I lost my composure. Nan Gonghao scoffed, a sycophant. Xingyu Kong clenched his fists, eager to retort, but upon seeing Nan Gonghao's handsome visage, he found himself at a loss for words. Instead, he ignored Nan Gonghao and turned to Qin Shui, suggesting, Shui'er, the demoness will likely not arrive so early. Shall we take a stroll instead? Nan Gonghao raised an eyebrow. Would C2 Rue be coming here? With so many gathered in the tavern, could they be waiting for her? Qin Shui shook her head. No, this gentleman Nan Gong speaks most intriguingly. I would like to converse with him further. Xingyu Kong's face turned green with envy. Despite his relentless efforts to win Qin Shui's attention, she had never acknowledged him. Now, she wished to engage in conversation with a stranger she had just met? How could he bear such humiliation? Fuming internally, Xingyu Kong signaled to two individuals lurking in the shadows, who were secret guards sent by the Shihai clan, to avoid drawing attention. They were all at the Qi domain realm. Of course, there were true Wang Ho realm and even royal-level cultivators hidden in the background, but they were unlikely to intervene. With a subtle command from Xingyu Kong, the two guards disguised as passing cultivators approached with intent to provoke. Suddenly, one guard stomped his foot on the table in front of Nan Gonghao, knocking over dishes and cups, glaring menacingly at him. Who the hell told you to sit here? Take your plate and get lost. The second guard approached, positioning himself beside Nan Gonghao. Both guards, peak Qi domain cultivators, unleashed their imposing aura, encircling Nan Gonghao. Earthly laws coalesced in the mountains, while metal laws formed swords, hovering around him, imparting an immense pressure and threat. It seemed that a single misstep on Nan Gonghao's part would result in devastation. The onlookers exchanged puzzled glances, unsure of what had transpired. Why had the situation escalated so suddenly? Nan Gonghao observed the two men beside him and sighed softly. He had just arrived, and no one recognized him. It was evident that Xingyu Kong was behind this provocation. Was this truly amusing? Nan Gonghao shot a bemused glance at Xingyu Kong. Feigning ignorance, Xingyu Kong frowned and scolded. What is amusing about this? You caused this trouble. Take it elsewhere and do not ruin my meal with Shui'er. Qin Shui sighed softly, casting a disappointed look at Xingyu Kong, but said nothing further. Unbeknownst to Xingyu Kong, it seemed both Nan Gonghao and Qin Shui had discerned the source of the issue. He felt a pang of panic, yet he continued to feign ignorance. Did you hear what this prince said? If there is nothing to discuss, then get lost. The two guards, understanding their master's implicit command, hastily reached out to pull Nan Gonghao along, saying, Boy, come with us to settle this. The guards, both at the pinnacle of the Qi domain, believed that even if Nan Gonghao possessed some skill, they could easily subdue him together. However, they were taken aback when a formidable aura surged toward them as they made their move. The combined aura of the two guards trembled violently, but did not dissipate. Who dares to meddle? The guards turned around in anger, for the aura had crashed into them from behind, clearly not initiated by Nan Gonghao. Confused, Nan Gonghao looked around. unaware of who was coming to his aid. After the guards finished cursing, another powerful aura slammed into them. Then came another, and another. A relentless barrage of 7 or 8 auras crushed down upon the two arrogant guards, sending them flying and causing them to crash into the walls of the tavern, landing on a roadside outside. At that moment, a group of 7 or 8 female cultivators stood up in the distance, gazing at Nan Gonghao with gentle smiles. Little brother, don't be afraid. Sister will protect you. Those two ugly brutes dare to disturb my view of a handsome man. Being injured is the least of their worries. Everyone here, listen up. We shall protect this young man. Let anyone who dares to trouble him try. Chapter 35. Nan Gonghao. I will crush your fiancé. Nan Gonghao was utterly speechless at the sight of these infatuated women. Xing Yukong, even more incredulous, gritted his teeth and admonished Nan Gong. Do you only dare to hide behind the protection of women? Nan Gonghao ignored the fool and turned to Qin Shui, asking, shall we take a walk together? Qin Shui glanced at the strange stares from the surrounding crowd, hesitated briefly, and then agreed, all right. She originally disliked being gawked at, so she wanted to step outside for some respite. Yet, Xing Yukong felt his temper flare. Damn it, I just invited Qin Shui out, and she refused me. Now, someone else mentions it, and she agrees? Is a famously proud Qin Shui now truly just a pretty face? Regardless of Xing Yukong's thoughts, Qin Shui Yao and Nan Gonghao departed the tavern under the jealous gazes of the women. Once outside, Nan Gonghao strolled alongside Qin Shui on the street and casually remarked, why allow Xing Yukong to follow us? Qin Shui Yao was still presenting herself under her assumed identity of Qin Shui. Likewise, Nan Gonghao was also using a false identity. Both had altered their names and appearances, neither recognized the other. Thus, when Nan Gonghao posed this question, Qin Shui Yao was taken aback, retorting, what business is it of yours? Nan Gonghao chuckled, I just feel that his presence beside you is rather bothersome. Just then, Xing Yukong, unwilling to accept defeat, trailed the two. Upon hearing Nan Gonghao's words, he exploded in rage, shouting, you coward. Do you only dare to slander others from behind? Nan Gonghao cast a sidelong glance at Xing Yukong, asking, have you arranged for everything? Is it true that at your command, someone will rush out to cut me down? I don't know what you're talking about. Xing Yukong's expression shifted slightly, but he feigned calmness. Nan Gonghao paid him little mind and turned to Qin Shui, saying, I need to attend to some matters. I hope that when I return, you will still be here. Qin Shui, puzzled, inquired, aren't you here for the Tian Mo Xianu? She possesses all the resources of the first-rate C2 family. Everyone is vying to seize them. Those hold no allure for me. Nan Gonghao shook his head, then spoke earnestly, you may find this hard to believe, but from the first glance, I felt an inexplicable attraction to you. Unfortunately, I have pressing matters to attend to, otherwise, I would certainly strive to win your heart. Xing Yukong gritted his teeth. Do you think you are worthy to even dream of Qin Shui? Qin Shui smirked, her lips curling in a half-smile as she looked at Nan Gonghao. What if my future surpasses your expectations? She teased. To me, any strong individual only serves one purpose, to be surpassed. With a confident glow on his face, Nan Gonghao emanated an aura of determination and will. Qin Shui's expression shifted. She sensed the terrifying potential within him. Subsequently, her gaze toward him transformed into one of intrigue. Did you just say I am attractive to you? In fact, I was thinking the same. From the moment I saw you, you seemed oddly familiar. I will give you 7 days. If you return by then, I shall reveal everything to you, and you can decide whether you dare pursue me. How does that sound? Nan Gonghao furrowed his brow. You're only permitting me to pursue you? I thought you would directly be with me. Qin Shui shot him an exasperated look. Do you think I am one of those infatuated girls who only look at appearances? In fact, if you were a bit more handsome, I might have fallen for you. Alas, I have seen a man more handsome than you, one whose beauty is unmatched. Nan Gonghao was astonished. Is there truly such a person? Yes, but his talent likely pales in comparison to yours. He may just be a waste. Qin Shui Yao replied dismissively, referring to her fiancée, Nan Gonghao. She believed that if Nan Gonghao were truly formidable, her father would not have prevented her from attending his coming-of-age ceremony. Clearly, the intent was to conceal the fact that Nan Gonghao was a failure. Initially, Qin Shui hesitated, but upon seeing the appealing Nan Gonghao before her, she suddenly resolved to annul her engagement. If this Nan Gonghao truly possessed courage, she would take him with her to confront Nan Gonghao about the annulment. As for Nan Gonghao, he looked at Qin Shui and confidently declared, no matter who stands in my way, I will make them move aside. What if it is a powerful fiancé? Qin Shui questioned. Fiancé? You mean that waste you spoke of earlier, who is handsome yet utterly useless? Such a person does not deserve you. When the time comes, I shall step on that waste-s face and compel him to relinquish you to me, Nan Gonghao proclaimed with unwavering confidence. However, just as he finished speaking, he sneezed. How strange. Who is insulting me? Nan Gonghao wondered, perplexed. He then caught sight of Xing Yukong's face contorted with rage. So was this fellow. Upon noticing Nan Gonghao's gaze, Xing Yukong spat venomously. That waste is unnecessary. I can dispose of him myself. As for you, don't reach above your station. Know your place. Nan Gonghao frowned. Are you trying to flaunt your identity as a member of the Shihai clan again? Xing Yukong looked down at Nan Gonghao with pity. Only those pitiful creatures, abandoned and alone, harbor such hatred toward those of us from prominent families, right? I heard mortals refer to such behavior as class envy. There is no need for such animosity. Kneel and submit to me, and I shall grant you some cultivation resources. With that, you would no longer need to harbor resentment toward others. Nan Gonghao cast a disinterested glance at Xing Yukong. It seems you have not been idle, constantly plotting how to provoke me. Unfortunately, do you think you are worthy to make me submit? Xing Yukong sneered, unleashing his aura without reservation. He possessed a concealment technique that obscured his true power. Now, as he released his strength, those around him realized he had already reached the Wang Ho realm at such a young age. The aura of a Wang Ho transformed into a tempest, sweeping down to suppress Nan Gonghao, attempting to force him to kneel. Yet, Nan Gonghao merely scoffed, meeting that imposing aura with his own fierce presence without hesitation. How dare a mere Qi domain practitioner, relying on women, oppose a prince? Such delusions. Xing Yukong roared, embodying the might of a king standing proud over the land, surveying his vast domain, as if commanding 1,000,000 soldiers to conquer the world. In that moment, all those in the Qi domain around them could not withstand the pressure. Either they retreated in terror or knelt in trembling submission. Even many powerful Wang Ho experts could not help but show expressions of fear and bitter smiles. They questioned their ability to contend with Xing Yukong. This is the advantage of being born into a prominent family. Even at the same realm, they still possess the power to crush you. Xing Yukong gazed at Nan Gonghao with an air of arrogance and challenged. What now? Dare to confront this prince again? Qin Shui furrowed her brows nearby, contemplating intervention. She could discern that Nan Gong was at the Qi domain realm, yet she was intrigued to witness the extent of his abilities. Ah, a contest of momentum, is it? Nan Gonghao displayed a faint smirk. With his divine body and the possession of 3 remarkable phenomena, who could intimidate him? He resolved to enlighten Xing Yukong today, demonstrating the hierarchy of existence. There are always greater beings beyond oneself. Chapter 36. Carrying away the fiancé, all non-essential individuals. Step back. Dongqing City is now under lockdown. Entry is permitted, but exit is forbidden. In the skies above, the overwhelming force of a sovereign-level master descended, intent on subjugating all present. Clearly, they were awaiting the arrival of the demonic siren, C2 Rue. Nan Gonghao frowned at the heavens. C2 Rue was in peril. Despite her remarkable talents, even with divine support, she could not stand against the sovereign. This was a top-tier expert from the Donghuang region, trained in the formidable martial arts of Dongqing City, and none present could withstand their might. Even Xing Yukong, in his arrogance, nearly suffered injury under the sovereign's pressure, compelling the royal guards protecting him to step forward and clarify matters with the formidable figures of Dongqing City. It turned out to be the prince of the West Sea clan, who should remain more discreet. They requested his presence at the city lord's mansion for proper hospitality. As a sovereign-level master descended from the sky to greet him, Xing Yukong, though nearly injured, bore a smug expression as he turned to Nan Gonghao, stating, "What now? Submit to this prince, and upon my ascension to supremacy, you shall enjoy such treatment as my servant." Nan Gonghao withdrew his gaze from the sovereign of Dongqing City, regarding Xing Yukong with indifference. Then, he formed seals with his hands, channeling a tremendous surge of energy into the atmosphere. True Dragon 9 Seals. A celestial aura of the true dragon cascaded down from the heavens, enveloping Nan Gonghao, with 9 divine dragons swirling around him. With a thunderous dragon roar, the 9 dragons transformed into a dragon robe, adorning Nan Gonghao. In that instant, he resembled an emperor of a prosperous era, commanding the realm. You, Xing Yukong, claim to be a sovereign? Mea Triflis. I am an emperor, the emperor of all. Exuding boundless majesty. The overwhelming aura of the Emperor crashed down upon Xing Yukong, eliciting a wretched scream as he spat blood. At that moment, he felt as though his father, the Emperor, had arrived, instilling profound fear within him. Who are you? Who exactly are you? Xing Yukong stumbled backward in terror, unable to meet Nan Gonghao's gaze. The onlookers around were equally astonished, particularly the female cultivators who had previously supported Nan Gonghao, their faces flushed with excitement and their legs trembling. So handsome, so incredibly handsome. I knew he was a powerhouse, invincible. What to do? I fear I will never find another man to compare. I long to marry him. No, even to be his servant would suffice. A group of female cultivators gazed at Nan Gonghao in despair, mourning their inability to wed him. Even the sovereign-level experts in the sky were taken aback. The true dragon Aura Nan Gonghao had summoned had shattered their momentum blockade. Recognizing the true Dragon 9 seals he had unleashed, the onlookers were struck with a mixture of shock and eagerness. That was the unparalleled treasure of the true dragon clan. Possessing it guaranteed a minimum stature of supremacy, and even the prospect of contending for the position of emperor was not out of reach. Everyone gazed at Nan Gonghao with insatiable greed, except for Xing Yukong, who felt utterly despondent. He had not anticipated such a humiliating defeat. Moments ago, he had sought to subjugate Nan Gonghao. Now he merely wished to bow before him. Qin Shui Yao regarded Nan Gonghao in disbelief. This technique was a heritage of the true dragon. Clearly, Nan Gonghao was of a human race and could not have been instructed by the true dragon. He must have gleaned insights from a true dragon's remains or artifacts. This individual possessed a terrifyingly high talent. As a proud prodigy herself, Qin Shui Yao's heart surged with admiration for Nan Gonghao, and she could no longer contain her excitement. What do you intend to do? May I accompany you? It was evident that she was profoundly impressed by this enigmatic Nan Gong. No way. Though Xing Yukong was injured, he remained furious and obstructive. Qin Shui Yao looked at him coldly, stating, "Do you truly believe that accompanying me for a short distance grants you authority over my decisions?" Xing Yukong's expression stiffened as he gazed at Qin Shui Yao in disbelief. "After all I have done, you seem utterly unconcerned? It is not indifference. Rather, it is sheer annoyance. Were it not for your royal protection, I would have knocked you aside long ago." Qin Shui Yao reprimanded impatiently. Xing Yukong was left at a loss for words, feeling both furious and embarrassed, ultimately spitting out a mouthful of blood in frustration. He was genuinely infuriated. "Kill her. Eliminate them." Xing Yukong bellowed, issuing commands, yet no one moved. Even the guard dispatched to protect Xing Yukong feigned ignorance and did not act. Kill Qin Shui Yao? What a joke. She is the fiancée of the divine son of the Nan Gong family. While the West Sea clan was one of the 4 mortal forces, these guards were not high-ranking officials. Should they act against her, the Nan Gong family would certainly retaliate fiercely, and the West Sea clan might well sacrifice them to appease the anger. Naturally, the inhabitants of Dongqing City would not heed Xing Yukong's orders, as they were on their home turf. Without any provocation from Nan Gonghao and Qin Shui Yao, they could not act arbitrarily. Otherwise, they would tarnish their own reputation and standing. After waiting a while without any action, Nan Gonghao could not help but chuckle. "Xing Yukong, do you see? Your proud West Sea clan seems unable to offer you any assistance." Xing Yukong, filled with indignation, found himself unable to refute. Meanwhile, Nan Gonghao casually wrapped an arm around Qin Shui Yao's waist and then crushed a jade talisman. A formation enveloped their feet, and the fluctuations of spatial laws instantaneously transported them away. Nan Gonghao was neither cowardly nor foolish. He understood the necessity of swift departure, or these individuals would surely resort to violence. The spatial jade talisman could instantly transport individuals over vast distances, serving as an invaluable safeguard. However, only a sage-level expert could craft them, making them exceedingly rare. Even among certain first-rate forces, only core members had access to such treasures. Yet Nan Gonghao possessed many. The expressions of those present shifted as they realized they had been outmaneuvered. The true Dragon 9 seals Nan Gonghao had unleashed were not merely for show. They were also a means to activate the Jade Talisman to escape. The sovereigns of Dongqing City exchanged glances, and one of them hurriedly departed to mobilize his subordinates in search of Nan Gonghao and Qin Shui Yao. Xing Yukong, unwilling to concede, barked at his guards. "Pursue. Bring Qin Shui Yao back." They were still willing to secretly kill or abduct Qin Shui Yao, so they immediately obeyed and pursued Nan Gonghao's trail. Yet Xing Yukong remained dissatisfied. Gritting his teeth, "We must retrieve Qin Shui Yao and forcibly bring her back to the West Sea clan." Beside him, a sovereign frowned. Your Highness, what use is taking Qin Shui Yao? She will not submit. This would only invite trouble. Do you think I haven't considered that? He retorted. Isn't the Nangong family preparing a coming-of-age ceremony for their divine son? I shall inform them that Qin Shui Yao has been abducted by another man. When the Nangong family learns of this, they will undoubtedly be enraged and seek vengeance on that lad, named Nangong. And they may well direct their wrath at the Qin family. At that time, the scoundrel Qin Xiao sought would be slain, and the Qin family would be annihilated. I wonder if she would humbly kneel at my feet as a slave in a desperate bid for survival. By the way, prepare some gifts for this prince, preferably in green, as I intend to present them to the divine son of the Nangong family. Chapter 37. The sage moves to capture divine son Nangong Hao. Accompanied by Qin Xiao, traversed hundreds of thousands of miles until they reached a remote mountain range. As soon as they appeared, Qin Xiao's figure flickered, swiftly distancing herself from Nangong Hao's embrace. What are you doing? Nangong Hao asked, somewhat perplexed. Qin Xiao's cheeks flushed slightly, yet she feigned calmness. I am betrothed. Though I do not favor that man, I shall not engage in anything with you before the annulment of the engagement. Nangong Hao suddenly understood, but a mischievous smile crept onto his face. In this desolate wilderness, if I were to take you by force, no one would know. I am aware that indulging in secret pleasures behind others' backs would be a lifelong disgrace for me. Moreover, do you truly believe you can best me? Qin Xiao felt as though she were being underestimated, gazing at Nangong Hao with a semblance of a smile. Subsequently, a dangerous aura emanated from her. Though she did not exhibit the violent scene of the true dragon's 9 seals, her formidable presence was subtle yet impossible to ignore. Seeing this, Nangong Hao's delight only grew. I prefer not to be assaulted by those who rush at me. Your demeanor piques my interest even more. Qin Xiao smiled faintly. That is precisely what I wish to convey. As they exchanged knowing glances, a sense of mutual respect blossomed between them. Soon after, the sound of slicing air reached them. It was the people from Dongqing City searching for their whereabouts. The true dragon's 9 seals, an unparalleled treasure technique, held considerable allure even for eternal forces. Qin Xiao produced a pearl. I possess a concealment pearl that can render us undetectable even to those of the Emperor's realm. Can you see it? Of course, Nangong Hao replied. Thus, we must traverse only in the shadows and during the night. Qin Xiao shrugged. The concealment pearl was a formidable artifact even among first-rate forces. Yet, Nangong Hao produced a similar pearl, stating casually, this is the myriad transformation pearl. Even an emperor-level expert standing here would not perceive us. Qin Xiao gazed at the pearl, astonished. The myriad transformation pearl was crafted from an exceedingly rare exotic beast, one that was both elusive and possessed formidable strength, surpassing even that of a sage. Thus, only an eternal force could claim such a treasure. Qin Xiao looked at Nangong Hao with a peculiar expression. I have acquainted myself with the offspring of the 4 eternal forces in the eastern wilderness, yet I have never encountered you. I have undergone a disguise, Nangong Hao chuckled. Fortunately, so have I. Qin Xiao shrugged. No one loses out. Haha, let us proceed. Nangong Hao did not elaborate on his identity, trusting that this woman before him was not overly concerned with lineage. Qin Xiao indeed cared little and promptly followed Nangong Hao as they departed the mountain range. Occasionally, Emperor-level experts and noble realm masters flew overhead, tirelessly searching for their traces. However, Nangong Hao and Qin Xiao, armed with a myriad transformation pearl, boldly advanced along the path. At one point, an Emperor-level expert brushed past them without even noticing their presence. Qin Xiao could not help but marvel at the wonders of the myriad transformation pearl, while simultaneously realizing something significant. The man beside her undoubtedly hailed from one of the 4 eternal forces, and his standing within his family was likely considerable. Otherwise, he could not possess such a rare artifact. Glancing at the dashing and powerful Nangong, Qin Xiao could not help but recall her ineffectual fiancé. All being offspring of the 4 eternal forces, how could the disparity in character be so vast? Alas, the more time she spent with Nangong, the less she regarded her fiancé. While she could annul her engagement, being with Nangong would inevitably incite conflicts with the Divine Son. Both were scions of eternal forces, and should this lead to a confrontation that sparked an immortal war, causing untold suffering, it was not what Qin Xiao wished to witness. What to do? Qin Xiao felt a headache coming on. Perhaps she could betroth her stunning cousin to Nangong Hao, which might alleviate the ire of Nangong's family. After all, her cousin was renowned as a celestial beauty, breathtakingly lovely. A striking man paired with an exquisite woman would create a perfect match, sparing her from involvement. Qin Shuiao believed this to be a brilliant solution. While Nan Gonghao was momentarily distracted, she discreetly cast forth a flying sword token. The sword swiftly traversed the void, carrying her message to her distant cousin. Nan Gonghao was in the midst of searching for the location of the Emperor's legacy when he suddenly sensed a disturbance in the space around him, causing him to startle. "Who goes there? Come fort," Nan Gonghao called out sharply. Qin Shuiao hurriedly emerged from the dense forest, her expression grave. "What is it? Has someone discovered us?" "I sensed a disturbance in the space. Someone may be approaching," Nan Gonghao replied solemnly. Qin Shuiao felt somewhat awkward upon hearing this. "It was me. I used the flying sword token." "What? You shouldn't have used that." Nan Gonghao's expression shifted, and he seized Qin Shuiao, racing toward the east. He had just determined the direction of the Emperor's legacy and wanted to hasten there. Qin Shuiao was puzzled. "Why are you so worried? Could it be that Dongqing City has detected us?" The Emperor's artifact of Dongqing City, known as the Everlasting Green Tree, is exceedingly sensitive to spatial disturbances. It surely sensed your flying sword token and is likely searching for us now, Nan Gonghao said gravely. Qin Shuiao understood the nature and purpose of Dongqing City's Emperor artifact, yet she felt incredulous. "It is merely us two, even if you possess the true dragon's 9 seals. Would Dongqing City exhaust its resources to deploy the Emperor artifact against us?" Nan Gonghao looked earnestly at Qin Shuiao. "Yes, they certainly will." Previously, the commotion caused by my mastery of the true dragon's 9 seals was too significant for ordinary forces to notice. However, it could not escape the notice of the other 3 eternal forces. Earlier, in the inn, while I displayed the true dragon's 9 seals, others may not have recognized me. But the top experts of Dongqing City surely discerned my true identity. They would stop at nothing to capture me, the divine son of the Nangong family. Indeed, as soon as Nan Gonghao fled, he saw the space ahead rippling open, and several figures emerged. Although they could not locate Nan Gonghao, they had their means. "Everlasting Green Realm," a deep voice echoed. Subsequently, a wave of green energy spread, enveloping an area of hundreds of thousands of miles, forming a separate little world capable of imprisoning and searching everything. Qin Shuiao's expression changed dramatically. "It is a sage. Dongqing City has actually deployed a sage." "Who are you, Nangong?" Even a fool would understand that the sage from Dongqing City was targeting Nan Gonghao. Without time to explain, Nan Gonghao realized the everlasting green realm was continuously shrinking its encirclement. The myriad transformation pearl could not evade such a net-like search. "Qin Shui, take the myriad transformation pearl and leave," Nan Gonghao commanded sternly. "And you?" Qin Shuiao was taken aback. "If you truly wish to be mine, remember to speak less during such times." Nan Gonghao swatted Qin Shui aside and exited the protective range of the myriad transformation pearl. He then gazed skyward, indifferently declaring, "I shall no longer hide. Do you not wish to find me? Come fort." The contraction of the everlasting green realm indeed halted. Soon, a cold voice resonated from above. "Capture him! Swish, swish, swish." Several figures surged forward, appearing at Nan Gonghao's side. 5 emperors. Nan Gonghao laughed. "You truly think highly of me, do you? Let us engage." The 5 emperors shouted in unison, unleashing earth-shattering power. An expert at the pinnacle of the aura realm stood against 5 emperors. To any observer, it appeared that Nan Gonghao was destined to perish. Chapter 38. I will never have any relationship with Nangong, how the true Dragon 9 seals. The unification of the 9 seals, coalescing into the form of the true dragon. Nan Gonghao roared with all his might. The true Dragon 9 seals. The first 8 seals manipulate the ultimate powers of the 8 realms, and the final seal can unite the 9 seals, coalescing into the true dragon form. The void suddenly split apart, and an endless surge of true dragon energy seemed to rush forth from ancient times, flowing into Nangong Hao's body. A dragon's roar echoed, shattering the skies. Nangong Hao transformed into a 100-jong true dragon, his scales shimmering with golden light, exuding a tyrannical aura that seemed capable of suppressing eternity. He charged towards the weakest of the emperors. "Do not resist, only flee." The emperor wore a mocking expression. "I admit you are strong and talented. But the Qi domain realm against an emperor? I believe you have lost your mind." Imperial order. Destruction feast. In the sky, a chain of order, superior to laws, coalesced into a massive fist, crashing towards Nangong Hao. This fist was as immense as a mountain, as indestructible as a diamond. It seemed that a single blow could annihilate this realm and extinguish all life. This was the power of an emperor, possessing strength that transcended laws, capable of effortlessly destroying a world. Although the true dragon power was ferocious, in the face of this emperor's strength, it ultimately fell short in realm. If he were 1,000 Zhang true dragon, there might still be a chance. Yet, merely 100 Zhang, this power was evidently too weak. Therefore, no one believed Nangong Hao could escape. At that moment, a pure Yin energy surged from beneath the earth, flooding into the body of the opposing emperor. The confident expression on the emperor's face abruptly changed. 9 Yin Nether Chi. Who is it? Ah! The emperor roared in agony, forced to first mobilize his power to suppress the 9 Yin Nether Chi within him. Bang! Nangong Hao collided head-on with the emperor. The emperor grunted in surprise, compelled to retreat, astonished. What a formidable physique! Nangong Hao's physical body was already terrifyingly strong, and now, with the infusion of true dragon energy, it grew exponentially stronger. Despite being merely 100 Zhang dragon form, this was due to the extreme compression of power, not that he could not summon 1,000 Zhang dragon form. Nang Hao, amidst the encirclement of the emperors, forcefully broke through a gap and immediately shot towards the distance. Under the protection of the Wan Hua Pearl, Qin Shuiyao sighed in relief, then gazed at Nangong Hao's figure, wishing to watch him disappear before reappearing, thus delaying the people of Dongqing City. Yet in the next moment, the dragon's tail fiercely swept, unexpectedly wrapping Qin Shuiyao and carrying her away into the distance. Qin Shuiyao was startled. Nangong, let me go. They would not dare to harm me. Do not delay your escape. Nangong Hao solemnly stated. I shall say this one last time. Men act. Women should refrain from meddling. You, Qin Shuiyao, have always been proud and domineering. No one in the Qin family would dare speak to him this way, and even the direct descendants of the Xing Yukong, an immortal force, had never dared to speak so. Under normal circumstances, Qin Shuiyao would have long since slapped him. However, today, she inexplicably felt a warm sense of protection. Indeed, no matter how domineering a woman may be, she occasionally needs a man's embrace to shield her from the storms of life. As the two fled, the sage in the distance coldly reprimanded, a bunch of useless fools, incapable of detaining a mere king and a Qi domain. The emperor, eroded by the 9 Yin Nether Qi, smiled bitterly. That woman must be Qin Shuiyao. She has activated the 9 Yin Nether Qi. Hiss! The surrounding emperors all gasped. Even the sage's expression darkened. That girl has actually obtained that terrifying thing? We cannot allow her to remain. Otherwise, if she and Nangong Hao unite, they may both achieve the supreme status. Do not capture her. Kill her directly. With the sage's command, a group of emperors immediately pursued madly, driven by a murderous intent. Even if Nangong Hao's strength were to multiply tenfold, he would no longer have a chance to escape. Once caught again, it would mean death. After Nangong Hao escaped, he immediately utilized the spatial jade token to teleport to a place 80,000 li away, at the site of the emperor's legacy. It was a mountain range, and halfway up a low hill, there was an inconspicuous cave. Who would have thought that this seemingly beastly den concealed the emperor's legacy within? Nangong Hao promptly dashed into the cave with Qin Shuiyao. Seeing this, Qin Shuiyao frowned. Nangong, why not flee? Hiding in this cave? The sage of Dongqing City could easily locate us, right? Who said I came here to hide? Wait for my husband to provide you with an opportunity for fortune. Nangong Hao laughed heartily, then dragged Qin Shuiyao deeper into the cave. Qin Shuiyao furrowed her brow, wanting to remind Nangong Hao not to speak carelessly. She was already betrothed, but seeing Nangong Hao in such high spirits, she could not bear to dampen his enthusiasm. After all, she had decided to break off the engagement and introduced her stunning cousin to Nangong Hao. It should not be considered a debt owed to him. The two rushed deeper into the cave, and Qin Shuiyao initially thought they would soon reach the end. Yet, unexpectedly, after running for several thousand zhang, they barely glimpsed a hall carved within a mountain ahead. Nangong Hao frowned. This is not right. How can the tomb of the emperor's legacy have no formations or mechanisms? Just allowing people to enter like this? Qin Shuiyao was taken aback. Nangong, what do you mean this place is? This is the emperor's legacy. My little white mouse has been here, and my family's guards are also present. As Nangong Hao ventured further in, his expression grew serious. Meanwhile, Qin Shuiyao's complexion turned complex. The emperor's legacy? You brought me here? Are you not afraid I will seize it from you? Nangong Hao waved his hand dismissively, The reason I take the Emperor's legacy is that I do not want it to be tarnished by others. Because only in my hands can the Emperor's legacy exert its maximum potential. As for you, you will eventually become my woman. So if you desire it, I will give it to you. Qin Shuiyao could see that Nangonghao's demeanor and tone were sincere. This indicated that he was not here merely for the sake of coveting the Emperor's legacy. More likely, he enjoyed adventure. Or perhaps he truly felt others unworthy to touch the treasures of the Emperor. After all, he would undoubtedly become an emperor in the future. And he did not want the legacy of the Emperor to be treated as mere refuse by anyone. Such a fate would diminish the prestige of the Emperor and lower the status of the Nangong clan. How confident and proud this fellow is. Qin Shuiyao had always been self-assured. Even when facing various exceptionally talented individuals, she never felt inferior or insecure. Yet, for reasons unknown, in the presence of Nangonghao, who was evidently of a slightly lower realm, Qin Shuiyao felt an inexplicable sense of humility. After all, even she could not maintain such confidence in the face of the Emperor's legacy as Nangonghao did. To others, he might appear arrogant. However, Qin Shuiyao was a proud person. She understood that Nangonghao was simply confident. Unparalleled confidence. Often, a confident man is the most handsome and charming. Nanghao. Oh Nangonghao, I am increasingly unimpressed by you. Although you are handsome, you pale in comparison to my Nangong. Qin Shuiyao reflected deeply. Soon, she made a resolution. From now on, she would no longer have any relationship with that insufferable divine child, Nangonghao. Even if an emperor were to come, even if she were to leap from the edge of the demon realm, she would absolutely refuse to be entangled with him in any way. With such thoughts, Qin Shuiyao caught up with the Nangong, how she had always looked down upon. The two rushed into the grand hall one after the other. Nangonghao spotted a hidden figure in the distance, as well as Su Chun, who was diligently practicing his one-armed sword technique. Boom! Su Chun had just perfected his sword technique, and with a single slash, it struck the ground ahead, producing a sound akin to roaring waves. Subsequently, a flurry of blade energy shattered everything in its path, striking the ground with such force that it caused the earth to tremble and mountains to shake. Atudi astonishing spectacle. Su Chen's cultivation had ascended to the Wang Ho realm. Chapter 39. The arrival of the sage and the plunder of the Emperor's legacy. After demonstrating his swordsmanship, Su Chun could not help but wear a joyous expression. However, this was soon replaced by a countenance darkened with malice. Nangonghao, you shameless rogue. Not only did you steal my woman, but you also snatched my opportunities. Today, with my newfound power, I shall defeat you at your coming-of-age ceremony, shattering your resolve and leaving you forever unable to hold your head high. Just then, Nangonghao entered the hall, and upon hearing these words, he chuckled. I fear you may not have that chance. Caught in his hatred, Su Chun was startled and abruptly looked towards the entrance of the hall, demanding, Who is it? Nangonghao shrugged. I thought our enmity would be unforgettable for you. Is it that I was not ruthless enough? Or have you simply forgotten? Upon hearing that familiar voice, Su Chen's eyes widened in astonishment, a mixture of fury and panic crossing his face. How could it be you? How did you know I was here? Nangonghao, uninterested in further conversation, had cultivated the eternal cycle scripture. This technique was not only immensely powerful, but also possessed various unique applications. One such ability allowed him to observe the fortunes of others. Each person's fortune essentially represented their lifetime of luck and the achievements they could attain. Previously, Nangonghao had stripped Su Chun of his ring's grandfather. Yet he allowed him to leave because he foresaw that Su Chen's fortune was not yet exhausted, and a significant opportunity awaited him. Now, however, within this imperial mausoleum, Su Chen's fortune had clearly run dry. He was evidently of no further use. With a cheerful demeanor, Nangonghao gazed at Su Chun. Come, let me witness the extent of your progress. Qin Shuiyao, wishing not to intervene, stepped back a distance, only to find herself beside Ying Yi. Startled by Ying Yi's presence, she exclaimed, Who are you? I am the shadow guard of the young master. Ying Yi respectfully explained. Naturally, Ying Yi could see through Nangonghao and Qin Shuiyao's disguises and understood their identities. Seeing them enter together, hand in hand, he assumed they had made arrangements in advance. However, Qin Shuiyao's expression shifted. The Nangong family specifically protects the Holy Sun? No, your power is terrifying. You cannot possibly be here to protect that waste, Nangonghao. Just as Ying Yi was about to nod in agreement, he suddenly realized something was amiss, looking at Qin Shuiyao in bewilderment. What did you just say? Waste. Is that the trend now, where young couples call each other such affectionate terms? Seeing Ying Yi's silence, Qin Shuiao interpreted it as an affirmation, her heart sinking. She began to worry for Nan Gonghao, whom she had just started to care for. Just as Qin Shuiao was about to say something, a violent explosion erupted ahead. Nan Gonghao and Su Chun had engaged in battle. Su Chun charged forward, wielding a great circular blade, striking at Nan Gonghao, first form of the Tide Blade technique. Long waves surge. With a tumultuous roar, a sea of blades manifested in the heavens, resembling surging waves, each crashing forcefully towards Nan Gonghao, intent on reducing him to pulp. Nan Gonghao swiftly formed seals with both hands, tearing heaven's seal. With a thunderous roar, a colossal dragon claw suddenly appeared above him, its sharpness cleaving through the descending sea of blades, creating a safe zone for him. Nan Gonghao emerged unscathed. Su Chun was taken aback, astonished that Nan Gonghao, at the pinnacle of the Qi domain realm, could counter his Wang Ho realm technique. Humph, it must be relying on the power of the laws. He scoffed, against a Wang Ho realm. You truly are foolish. Behold my miniature world, Su Chun exclaimed, as a tempest arose around him, forming a complete microcosm. Within this realm, celestial dragons roamed and roared, intertwined with the laws of nature, and the vast earth began to coalesce, revealing faint outlines of mountains. The distinction between the Wang Ho realm and the Qi domain realm lay in the fact that their miniature worlds were indeed true worlds, capable of absorbing the power of heaven and earth to enhance their own strength. To oppose a true Wang Ho realm was to contend with the very fabric of existence itself. Previously, the Wang Ho realms Nan Gonghao encountered were mere pretenders, lacking true strength. But Su Chun was not one of them. He had been instructed by an Emperor Esgard and was a legitimate Wang Ho. In any faction, he would already be considered a prodigy. Thus, Su Chun brimmed with confidence. Once his miniature world unfurled, it rapidly enveloped Nan Gonghao, while numerous laws transformed into chains, entangling him. What do you say? No matter how strong your Qi domain may be, can it surpass my miniature world? Su Chen Dontif. Nan Gonghao sighed. It seems your severed arm has not imparted any wisdom. For me, the notion of impossibility is non-existent. With a thunderous eruption, Nan Gonghao's Qi domain fully unleashed. 99 Mixed Yuan Heaven. Su Chen's expression shifted. Qin Shuiao was not overly surprised, knowing Nan Gonghao would possess such power. It's merely the 99 Mixed Yuan Heaven. What is so impressive about that? Su Chan forced himself to rebuke. Do you think you can surpass the Wang Ho realm and defeat me? With a roar, 101 celestial dragons burst forth, accompanied by the essence of true dragons intertwining. In the next moment, a true dragon appeared, spiraling within Nan Gonghao's Qi domain. This was a transcendent summoning of a true dragon. This was the power of a royal-level expert. Su Chun cried out in shock. According to the laws of heaven and earth, even if one amassed numerous celestial dragons in the Qi domain and Wang Ho realms, they could never transform into a true dragon. The power of the true dragon was only attainable by royal-level experts. A sovereign was akin to the true dragon's heir, recognized by the heavens, capable of summoning true dragon essence to aid in the formation of a true dragon. The Qi domain could never achieve this. Yet, with the true Dragon 9 seals at play, did Nan Gonghao still lack true dragon essence? A true dragon could withstand 1,000 celestial dragons' worth of power, far surpassing the Wang Ho realm. Despair washed over Su Chun, yet he gritted his teeth. Strength alone is not enough. I have endless laws to support me. The law of strangulation, the law of speed, the law of rigidity. Su Chun had not anticipated that even after attaining the Wang Ho realm, he would feel so powerless before Nan Gonghao. He roared, unleashing all his laws, his great blade gathering all his celestial dragon power. The one-armed heaven slashing technique. This swordsmanship was specially designed for him. At this moment, as he slashed through the air, endless chains of laws spiraled and coiled around his long blade. The blade became a weapon of the laws, incredibly sturdy and sharp, capable of cleaving through anything. Su Chun was even confident that he could contend with a peak Wang Ho realm expert. Thus, he could not believe that Nan Gonghao's power had surpassed that of the peak Wang Ho realm. After all, he was merely a Qi domain practitioner. With a whoosh, the long blade descended, aiming at Nan Gonghao. Nan Gonghao's expression remained indifferent. You forgetful fool, remember this in your next life. The Wang Ho realm is of no use against me. The star hammering technique. A colossal, thunderous hammer materialized, entwined with the powers of thunder and stars. A true dragon soared from the heavens, coiling around it. Nan Gonghao couldn't even be bothered to summon any extraordinary phenomena as he struck down fiercely upon Su Chen's great blade. The collision produced an earth-shattering explosion. An immense storm erupted from the point of impact, sweeping through the surroundings. The heavens shook and the earth quaked. Mountains crumbled. In the hall, 5 coffins were placed. At that moment, the coffins trembled under the onslaught of the storm, the lids quivering open just a crack. A terrifying aura emanated from within, with a splatter of blood. Su Chen was sent flying, his treasured blade shattered, his remaining arm crushed, and even his internal organs obliterated, life extinguished instantaneously. In his final moments, Su Chen could not comprehend how a monster like Nan Gonghao could exist in this world. If Nan Gonghao was born, then why was he, Su Chen, ever created? In the midst of tumult, Nan Gonghao had vanquished Su Chen, yet he felt no elation. Instead, he swiftly stowed away his hammer and rushed towards the 5 coffins. Concurrently, a voice of ecstatic jubilation echoed from the heavens. A place of inheritance was indeed present here. Such formidable power. These were ancient corpses exceeding the realm of saints. No, there was also a terrifying force. Could it be that of an emperor? A new emperor's legacy would soon grace Dongqing City. The voice trembled with excitement and then struck down with force. It turned out to be a saint from Dongqing City, intent on forcibly seizing the emperor's inheritance. Chapter 40. Nan Gonghao surrounded by 5 saints. The saint's palm obscured the skies, descending to uproot and shatter the entire mountain range. He then extended his hand again, aiming to grasp the 5 coffins. You dare to steal my master's belongings? Ying Yi's hand surged upwards, colliding fiercely with the saint's massive palm. A piercing scream followed. The saint of Dongqing City was ruthlessly subdued. Nan Gonghao was taken aback. What realm is this, Ying Yi? Qin Shuiyao was equally astonished. The Nangong family must be overly indulgent towards their divine child, employing such a formidable guardian. However, Ying Yi claimed these treasures belonged to his master. Could it be that Nan Gonghao would also arrive? Qin Shuiyao's expression shifted dramatically as she rushed forward, exclaiming, Nan Gong, I will assist you in seizing the emperor's inheritance. No, retreat quickly. Instead of charging ahead, Nan Gonghao seized Qin Shuiyao and retreated rapidly. In the next moment, an ancient green tree appeared above the 5 coffins. The everlasting green tree. This was the imperial artifact of Dongqing City. Qin Shuiyao gasped in astonishment. Nan Gonghao scoffed. The saint had already notified Dongqing City before making his move. It is only natural to employ an imperial artifact for the emperor's inheritance. Soon, a multitude of powerful beings will arrive. Ying Yi was aware of this as well and immediately grasped Nan Gonghao and Qin Shuiyao, intending to leave forcibly. Yet, the everlasting green tree had formed a binding domain, trapping them within. Even the power of a saint could not break through that confinement. Release me. Nan Gonghao commanded Ying Yi citerni. However, Ying Yi hesitated, knowing that Nan Gonghao aimed to seize the emperor's inheritance. Let go. Nan Gonghao's tone brooked no argument. Considering Nan Gonghao's talents, Ying Yi contemplated that he might indeed gain the emperor's acknowledgement. With this thought, he released his grip. Qin Shuiyao found it puzzling. Unsure why Ying Yi would heed her beloved Nan Gong's words. Had he begun to see him as a close friend or kin? She feared that if Ying Yi discovered Nan Gong's true identity, he might turn hostile. While Qin Shuiyao's mind raced with speculation, Nan Gonghao took the opportunity, swiftly advancing towards the 5 coffins before the people of Dongqing City arrived. As he neared, 4 of the coffins erupted with a domineering aura, barring his path. The 4 coffins emanating power guarded the central emperor's coffin, evidently unwilling to allow Nan Gonghao passage. Emperor, do you wish for your inheritance to fall into the hands of these worthless beings, tarnishing your name? Nan Gonghao shouted at the emperor's coffin. Impudent. A furious rebuke reverberated from above. Many saints of Dongqing City had arrived, among them the Huan great saint, Gu Yang, who had once presented a sacred artifact to Nan Gonghao when he was merely 3 years old. Gu Yang hovered in the air, coldly regarding Nan Gonghao. The emperor's coffin is beyond your reach. Withdraw at once. Gu Yang could see through Nan Gonghao disguise and had long known his identity. Yet, even with a new emperor's inheritance on the horizon, Dongqing City could not recklessly eliminate Nan Gonghao. Otherwise, the Nan Gong family would have just cause to attack Dongqing City for the emperor's legacy. It was imperative that Dongqing City avoid any scandal at this critical juncture. Nan Gonghao, however, did not waver, fixating on the emperor's coffin. I shall say this for the last time. The name of the emperor cannot be sullied. Surrender your inheritance. A collective gasp arose from the onlookers. How audacious was this Nan Gong family scion? While others would kneel and bow thousands of times in reverence upon encountering the emperor's legacy, beseeching divine recognition, he demanded the inheritance with an authoritative tone. Such arrogance was simply outrageous. Guiyang could only laugh in anger. What a fool to speak to the emperor in such a manner. If the emperor were alive, a mere glance would be sufficient to annihilate you. Those nearby were equally derisive. Why invoke the emperor? Even a follower of the emperor could crush him to pieces. This boy is surely overconfident, thinking that possessing the true Dragon 9 seals makes him extraordinary. He is merely a spoiled child in need of correction. His disrespect towards the emperor warrants our suppression. A saint from Dongxing City spoke out. The others' eyes lit up at this suggestion. They had been pondering how to deal with Nan Gonghao, and now, with his disrespect towards the emperor, they had a legitimate pretext. Should they kill him, the Nan Gong family could only suffer in silence. Daring to disrespect the emperor. Bring him down. Guiyang, though impatient, feigned calmness, issuing a loud command. Instantly, a powerful royal being approached, aiming a punch at Nan Gonghao. This strike contained the power of 3 true dragons, far beyond what Nan Gonghao could withstand. He intended to intervene, but was interrupted as a coffin suddenly flew open. A long-limbed, one-armed corpse emerged, brandishing a blade. Its raspy voice declared, "How dare you disturb the emperor's awakening? You shall pay the price." The rusted blade sliced through the royal being's body as effortlessly as cutting tofu. Yet, no one mourned the fallen royal, nor were they astonished by the scene. All had focused on the core of the corpse's words. The emperor was awakening. What madness was this? The emperor was not dead? Nan Gonghao furrowed his brow, summoning the laws of reincarnation to form chains of law that flew towards the emperor's coffin. He sought to ascertain whether the emperor was truly alive or dead. Do not think that your talents grant you the audacity to confront the emperor. Another coffin burst open, revealing a man resembling an iron tower. This man was clearly a practitioner of physical cultivation, and though he had just emerged from a coffin, his vigor radiated like a rainbow, piercing the sun. As he threw a punch at Nan Gonghao, the tidal force of his vitality surged forth, intent on obliterating him. True Dragon 9 seals, 5 mountain seal. Nan Gonghao swiftly formed seals with his hands. In the skies above, 5 majestic mountains materialized, crashing down upon the Iron Tower man. The 5 mountains, the pinnacle of countless peaks, could suppress the earth for eons, bearing unimaginable weight, capable of subduing all. The thunderous arrival of the 5 mountains seemed to threaten the very fabric of space, emitting a sound akin to impending shattering. Yet, the Iron Tower man merely scoffed. True Dragon 9 seals? Merely a treasure used by the defeated subordinates of the emperor. Break for me. With a series of explosive sounds, the 5 mountains shattered. However, his iron fist continued its relentless advance, undeterred and unimpeded. Nan Gonghao understood that this was the power of a saint, one he could not block. Yet, fear would not deter him. True Dragon 9 seals, Earth-shaking seal, Wind Howl seal, Heavenly Thunder seal, Asureski seal, True Fire seal. Numerous seals erupted from Nan Gonghao. Yet still, he could not halt the saint's advance. Simultaneously, the explosive energy overturned the remaining 3 unopened coffins. 3 figures emerged, all gazing coldly at Nan Gonghao. How dare you disturb the emperor's awakening? You shall pay the price. A stout man donned in black attire wielded a long whip, which he brandished, striking toward Nan Gonghao from afar. Subsequently, a scholarly figure, with a smile, inscribed the characters for suppression, emanating a righteous aura that bore down upon Nan Gonghao. The third individual, resembling a jailer and brandishing chains, menacingly sought to ensnare Nan Gonghao. The one-armed blade immortal was not idle either. He swung his long saber with a force surpassing that of Su Chun. 5 coffins, 5 saints. In that moment, they all charged towards Nan Gonghao. Chapter 41. Thank you for assisting me in unraveling the celestial lock chain. The combined strength of the 5 saints surged toward Nan Gonghao. A singular thought echoed in the hearts of all present. He is doomed, regardless of your exceptional talent. Even if you engage in battle against nobility with a might of the Qi domain, you cannot elude the power of a saint. This power transcends the limits of the corporeal form. Not even the strength of a celestial dragon, nor the might of a true dragon, could adequately describe the grandeur of a saint. Particularly, these 5 were once the attendants of an ancient emperor, their combat prowess undoubtedly formidable. Upon witnessing the 5 forces capable of annihilating this realm converge upon Nan Gonghao, Ying's eyes turned crimson with fury. He immediately resolved to rush to the rescue. But before he could reach him, the power of the imperial artifact, the everlasting green tree, descended to obstruct him. Just as Nangong Hao could not resist the five saints, neither could Ing, despite his talent, unlock the treasures of the ancient emperor. Ing and Qin Shuiyao could only watch helplessly as Nangong Hao was engulfed by the assault of the five saints. No, Qin Shuiyao cried out in despair. Unleashing the nine, Yin Netherchi, this formidable force, embodying the utmost darkness and evil of the universe, could corrode all, including its wielder. Qin Shuiyao seldom employed this power, fearing the erosion of her consciousness and the descent into malevolence. Yet, in that moment, she disregarded all caution, determined to save her beloved at any cost. He was also consumed by regret. He had erred in not alerting his family, for had he done so, the divine son would not have faced such peril. Observing the spiritual storm ignited by the Five Saints Alliance, Ing took a deep breath, channeling his power to its zenith. He intended to invoke a forbidden secret technique, even at the cost of his own well-being, to either rescue the divine son or avenge him. What are the emperor's attendants? What are their origins in the ancient or even primordial eras? They must all perish. The people of Dongqing City witnessed the two individuals intensifying their powers, seemingly prepared to sacrifice themselves. Rather than intervening, they welcomed them. Let them die. All perish. With these individuals gone, Dongqing City could better frame Nangong Hao. They would declare him irredeemably wicked, and one could only wonder how the Nangong family would respond. Crack! A faint sound of shattering echoed. Though barely audible amidst the raging storm and flying debris, it rang clear to attentive ears. Ing froze, his expression shifting dramatically as he seized Qin Shuiyao and dashed backward in desperation. Let go of me. I must save him. Qin Shuiyao struggled fiercely. Miss Qin, do not resist. The young master has unraveled the celestial lock chain, and the heavenly tribulation is upon us. If we do not flee, we shall perish. Each layer of the celestial lock chain that the heaven-punishing divine body unravels triggers a heavenly tribulation. External interference is forbidden, lest it provoke divine wrath, resulting in even more terrifying lightning strikes, targeting all nearby the heaven-punishing divine body. Boom! A spectrum of colors erupted from the spiritual storm that engulfed Nangong Hao. The five saints, united, not only failed to harm him, but inadvertently assisted him in breaking the third yellow celestial lock chain. In the next moment, the sound of chains rattled, shaking the cosmos, fracturing mountains. This terrifying commotion startled the five saints and the onlookers in Dongqing City above. Damn it! Retrieve the imperial artifact. Now, the people of Dongqing City panicked, particularly Gu Yang, who bellowed for the artifact to be secured. The heavenly tribulation cannot be obstructed. Boom! The heavenly tribulation descended, striking fiercely upon the spiritual storm created by the five saints. This storm was accepted as a protective barrier, aiding Nangong Hao against the heavenly tribulation. The wrath of the heavenly tribulation was ignited. The already dense storm clouds thickened tenfold. Within it lay the holy tribulation, a trial that only those who have become saints could endure. This is bad. Protect the emperor. Damn it, this brat is the heaven-punishing divine body. Form a formation. Guard the emperor. The five saints, filled with rage and urgency, rushed back to shield the emperor's coffin while simultaneously confronting the oncoming holy tribulation. As the holy tribulation descended, even the saints found it challenging to withstand. Yet, Nangong Hao basked in the storm of tribulation, unperturbed. Waves of yellow light enveloped him. Ing had already retreated 1,000 miles away with Qin Shuiyao. The citizens of Dongqing City fled even further. A being of the Qi domain was forcing back emperors and saints alike, compelling even the emperor's attendants to assume a defensive stance. This battle might well propel Nangong Hao to renown across the Guangyuan heavenly domain. The reputation of an unparalleled prodigy would become unstoppable. Gu Yang, realizing that Nangong Hao's fame would soar, felt a surge of frustration and snarkily remarked, "Humph, what a fool." Though the combined attack of the five saints saved him, it has also summoned a terrifying holy tribulation. I do not believe that he, a mere Qi domain cultivator, can withstand the holy tribulation. Indeed, the holy tribulation is something even emperors fear, let alone a Qi domain practitioner. Let us observe the spectacle. This time, we need not intervene. And the Nangong family cannot pin this on us. He is truly deserving of his fate, as he could have stayed home and at least lived through the coming-of-age ceremony in peace. A throng of saints from Dongqing City continued their mockery, their faces adorned with pride and disdain. Yet soon, their laughter faded, for the holy tribulation roared down with dozens of lightning strikes. Yet Nangonghao emerged unscathed. He appeared as if he were simply indulging in a warm bath, not only free of pain, but even experiencing a sense of comfort. The crowd was utterly astonished, unable to comprehend the unfolding events. Just then, Ying, filled with uncertainty, remarked, "Those yellow lights seem to harbor a trace of Xianqing energy. Could it be Xianhuang Qi?" Upon utterance of this phrase, the assembly gasped in unison. All eyes turned to Nangonghao, and in despair, they confirmed a staggering truth. It was indeed Xianhuang Qi, the primordial force birthed at the dawn of creation. Legends state that when used for defense, it is impervious to destruction. When wielded for offense, it is overwhelmingly powerful, capable of shattering all. As the ancient adage goes, the cosmos is Xianhuang, the universe is primal chaos. The Xianhuang Qi is the fundamental element that formed the universe, meaning that possessing it grants dominion over the world. As this thought took root in the minds of the onlookers, a transformation occurred around Nangonghao. His original Jiuzhong Hunyuan Tian manifested, swiftly coalescing into a miniature world. Within this small world, the Xianhuang Qi surged and gradually diverged. The Xianqing energy ascended, morphing into an endless expanse of sky. The dim yellow hue descended, transforming into the vast earth. Winds swept through the sky, rain fell, and hail mixed with snow. On the ground, flowers bloomed and mountains rose. Nangonghao had entered the realm of nobility, yet had condensed a complete miniature world, a feat typically attainable only by peak nobles. The spectators gazed in envy, believing this to be the culmination of the event. Yet an extraordinary phenomenon began to coalesce behind Nangonghao. It was a chaos formed from the Xianhuang Qi. If the Xianhuang Qi serves to create, then chaos is meant to annihilate. An all-consuming chaos, capable of devouring all. Behind Nangonghao floated a void of chaos, absorbing the descending bolts of heavenly tribulation, rendering them incapable of harming him in the slightest. If even the heavenly tribulation could be absorbed, what else could not be? The fourth phenomenon conjured by Nangonghao was truly terrifying. The onlookers, witnessing this spectacle, felt envy burn in their eyes, akin to rabbits caught in a snare. Good heavens! Must it be so absolute? A chaotic phenomenon. This is among the pinnacle of phenomena, coveted by even saints. Kill! Kill! Regardless of the final outcome, eliminate him. Guyang has gone mad. He must eradicate Nangonghao. This young man possesses an extraordinary talent, so formidable that none doubt he could eventually suppress the ages. With him present, this generation of prodigies is doomed to obscurity. Utilize the imperial artifact. Kill. Guyang and the formidable warriors of Dongqing City are resolute in their intent. Chapter 42. The Emperor's Personal Bestowal. Nangonghao can become Emperor of the imperial artifact of Dongqing City. The eternal verdant tree gently swayed. The entire world seemed to tremble in response. And then endless emerald light surged from the earth. This imperial artifact wields the power of the celestial greenwood, transforming into a colossal green hand that struck towards Nangonghao. When the imperial artifact is summoned, no matter how unparalleled a prodigy or invincible a warrior, resistance is futile. Ying's face was filled with despair. Even Qin Shuiyao appeared utterly devastated. There was no hope. This time, there was truly no escape. Who dares to disturb my slumber? A deep voice resonated from within the emperor's coffin. Everyone gazed in astonishment. From within the coffin, a transparent hand emerged, countering the force of the imperial artifact. Boom! The clash of powers tore the earth asunder, creating a chasm thousands of feet deep. The skies darkened, the space quaked, and many beings felt as though struck by a colossal hammer to the chest, writhing in agony and on the verge of spitting blood. Nangonghao bore the brunt of it, nearly facing annihilation. Yet the emperor extended another hand to shield him, revealing a faint glimmer of appreciation. Young man, you're quite impressive. In another era, you could become an emperor. Amidst the tumult, everyone heard this evaluation and felt a profound bitterness. Nangonghao furrowed his brow. Another era? Are you implying that I am inadequate in this one? You are remarkable. Yet alas, you were born in the wrong time. The emperor lamented. This is undoubtedly an era of endless strong contenders, which is both unfortunate and lamentable. Nangonghao, however, remained confident. A multitude of strong warriors? All the better. I was concerned about traversing the path to emperor in solitude. Having other prodigies to accompany me should be a stroke of fortune, should it not? Ha ha! Splendid. The emperor laughed heartily, further praising Nangong Hao. Subsequently, the emperor slowly emerged from the coffin, revealing himself as a spiritual entity. From a distance, Gu Yang observed this scene with a hint of disappointment. It is not the emperor, but merely a remnant of his spiritual essence left behind. The onlooker sighed. While the emperor's spiritual essence was indeed a treasure of unparalleled value, it could not compare to the emperor's corporeal form. Moreover, this essence evidently possessed self-awareness and could not be controlled, nor could it endure for long. Nangong Hao discerned that this was the emperor's spiritual essence and curiously inquired, "Why do you linger here?" "I am in self-imposed seclusion, awaiting the emergence of that thing." The emperor replied, gazing into the distance with a faraway expression. Nangong Hao noted that he was looking towards the direction of the Shihai clan. Could the emperor's spiritual essence be awaiting the Shihai clan's secret realm? "Young man, you truly possess remarkable potential, yet I cannot exist for long. Nor can I personally guide you. My legacy is not suited for you. Attempting to cultivate you would only delay your progress. However, there is one thing I can grant you. The competition for the path to emperor in this era will undoubtedly be exceptionally brutal, with countless formidable beings emerging. Those who can contend for the path to emperor are undoubtedly supreme kings. What I can offer you is a key, the key to enter the path of the emperor." The emperor's spiritual essence wielded its power, condensing a radiant halo that resembled a crown, containing within it a miniature world. It gently descended upon Nangong Hao's head, awakening his three souls of heaven, earth, and humanity, as if he were receiving some form of inheritance or, perhaps, a bestowal. The former emperor personally conferred upon Nangong Hao the qualification to compete for the path to emperor, in comparison to other prodigies who must strive for their achievements. Nangong Hao was not merely ahead at the starting line. He had transcended those who were already racing long before he had even begun. The people of Dongqing City were filled with despair, believing this to be no different from the emperor personally bequeathing the throne to Nangong Hao. Do you think the emperor's throne is your family's private possession to bestow at will? Although the emperor's personal bestowal was only a remnant of his spiritual essence, it still incited a tremendous upheaval in the world. Above, 5-colored rays of light descended, accompanied by ethereal melodies and fragrant aromas. In the next moment, the myriad of saints arrived to pay homage. The emperor who conferred upon Nangong Hao once suppressed an entire era. Now, all the prodigies and invincible beings of that era appeared in the skies, kneeling slowly before Nangong Hao in reverence for the next great emperor. The sight of the myriad saints bowing sent shockwaves throughout a significant portion of the Guangyuan celestial domain. All gazes were fixed in astonishment, and upon recognizing the emperor's spiritual essence, they were even more astounded. Yet soon, they realized their astonishment was premature. The emperor's spiritual essence had bestowed the opportunity to ascend to emperor upon another. The return of the former emperor, personally nurturing an heir to the throne. This notion seemed too ethereal, yet it was happening. This generation's contest for the path to emperor had become exhilarating. Even before it began, someone had already attained the status of heir. It seems there are a few individuals in Zhongzhou who also possess this qualification. They had been so arrogant before, yet now, who would have thought that even the East Wilderness would produce a contender? The heir to the emperor, a highly esteemed title. Even if he does not become an emperor in the future, he will undoubtedly reach the threshold of emperor. Envy, pure envy. Wow, you all see strength. Why do I see that this fellow is quite handsome? Indeed, I am truly captivated. Numerous powerful beings observe this scene, their discussions filled with jealousy and admiration. Nangong Hao, however, turned to the emperor's spiritual essence. Is this all? The emperor's spiritual essence was momentarily taken aback. You are unsatisfied? Of course. I traveled a great distance to seek out a mere opportunity to become emperor. Even without this artifact, I could still ascend to emperor. Therefore, you may offer something else. Nangong Hao stated with an air of nonchalance. The emperor's spiritual essence regarded Nangong Hao with intrigue. What do you desire? You certainly will not provide me with your legacy. How about this? Let those few remain as compensation for my earlier grievances. Nangong Hao gestured towards the one-armed blade saint and several other saints. While the Nangong family possessed many saints, having a few more could only be beneficial. Moreover, they had once followed the emperor and triumphed over an era, possessing knowledge and techniques that would surpass those of the Nangong family saints. The emperor's spiritual essence nodded. Very well. They shall serve as your attendants henceforth. The onlookers gasped in astonishment upon hearing this. Nangong Hao was certainly not the first prodigy to gain the opportunity to ascend to emperor. However, He was undoubtedly the first to express dissatisfaction with such an opportunity, even showing disrespect towards the emperor. Strangely enough, the emperor's spiritual essence acquiesced, granting him even more. Do these emperors possess a penchant for masochism, relishing in being challenged? Many prodigies began to ponder whether they should seek out an imperial tomb to test their mettle. After leaving behind 5 saints, the emperor's spiritual essence transformed into a beam of light and departed. The eternal verdant tree did not impede nor dare to obstruct its passage. Having departed, Nan Gonghao approached Qin Shuao and the others, accompanied by the 5 newly emerged saints. The saints offered no resistance. They complied with the emperor's command. Moreover, with Nan Gonghao possessing the opportunity to ascend to emperor, as long as he does not perish, his future strength will undoubtedly surpass theirs. There is nothing to contest. Nan Gonghao, accompanied by the 5 saints, confidently approached Ying and Qin Shuao. Let us return home. We have tarried too long, and the coming-of-age ceremony should have already commenced. Chapter 43. Qin Shuyao's bold confession as Nan Gonghao departed. Dongqing City did not dare to obstruct him, for half of the Guangyuan celestial domain was watching, including the Nangong family. Shortly after Nan Gonghao left, his dedicated chariot was dispatched by the Nangong family. The celestial steed streaked through the void like a meteor, radiating a resplendent light as it halted before Nan Gonghao with an air of arrogance. Nan Gonghao was about to step forward when he noticed Qin Shuya striding confidently toward him. She then ascended the palanquin and extended her hand toward Nan Gonghao, her bright smile illuminating the space. Did you not wish to know my identity? Are you bold enough to accompany me to the Nangong family? Nan Gonghao's expression turned peculiar. What was happening? You are on my carriage, yet you invite me to join you in my own home? And he also found the situation strange. But as a loyal guard, he refrained from speaking further. Little did he realize that his silence regarding their true identities would set in motion the ensuing tragedy. Let us proceed. Nan Gonghao reluctantly boarded the chariot, taking a seat beside Qin Shuao, who sat in serene silence. Accompanied by the 5 saints, they journeyed toward the Nangong residence. Apart from Qin Shuao, everyone else discerned Nan Gonghao disguise and understood his true identity. His recent elevation to the position of imperial heir had already drawn considerable attention during his coming-of-age ceremony, now attracting even more gazes from countless onlookers. Almost half of the factions in the Guangyuan heavenly domain turned their attention toward him, and even in Zhongzhou, ripples of movement could be felt. At this moment, the grand celebration of the Nangong family's coming-of-age ceremony was about to commence, with many guests already in attendance. In truth, Nan Gonghao should have delivered his speech by now. His prolonged absence had sparked murmurs among the guests, who speculated whether he was too fearful to make an appearance. Due to the barriers set by the Nangong family's formations, these guests remained unaware of Nan Gonghao's new status as the imperial heir. Among them was the prince of the Shihai clan, Xing Yukong, who had been waiting to sow discord. Observing Nan Gonghao's continued absence, he could no longer contain himself and stood up, proclaiming loudly, esteemed elders of the Nangong family. Why is the divine son yet to make his appearance? Nangong Xiong, seated in a position of prominence, wore a pleased expression as he replied, the divine son shall return shortly. He was eager to announce Nan Gonghao's new status and paid no heed to Xing Yukong's questioning tone. Yet, Xing Yukong grew more impatient and jested. Could it be that the divine son fears something and thus hesitates to show himself? Upon hearing this, the guests turned their attention to Xing Yukong, their eyes flashing with curiosity. They too had wanted to ask, but had not dared to do so. Now that someone had voiced their thoughts, murmurs erupted among the guests. Indeed, is the divine son of the Nangong family afraid? If it were you, would you not be fearful? The divine body is cursed by heaven and envied by others, and countless individuals seek to end his life. Perhaps someone is even plotting to challenge him at this very coming-of-age ceremony. It is said that the divine son has only reached the pinnacle of the Qi domain. Any noble could easily dispatch him. A chorus of whispers filled the air, but the sheer number of voices made it impossible to be silenced. The faces of the Nangong family members darkened, yet they refrained from anger, knowing that once the divine son returned in glory, these individuals would be soundly chastised in his silence. Who knows, perhaps they would witness the embarrassing collapse of 2 hearts that day. As the Nangong family contemplated this, their spirits lifted with anticipation. Divine son, return swiftly and deliver a resounding slap to these naysayers. Xing Yukong, however, grew impatient and smiled at his attendant, instructing, bring forth the gift. A nervous guard approached, carrying a tray adorned with a red cloth. Xing Yukong grinned. Here lies a gift to celebrate the divine son's coming of age. With a swift motion, the red cloth was torn away, revealing a jade sculpture of a green tortoise. The exquisite craftsmanship of the jade was undeniable. Yet the color and form caused the gathered crowd to change countenance. It is well known that green and tortoises are symbols that men greatly abhor. This was not a gift, but an act of provocation. Scoundrel! Nangong Xiong bellowed in rage. Has the Shihai clan sent you to incite war? The members of the Nangong family were livid, ready to draw blood. Yet Xing Yukong waved his hands in dismissal. No, do not misunderstand. I do not wish to instigate war. I merely wish to suggest that a divine son of such brilliance would not wish to marry a woman who would turn him into a